Welcome to the Shifters panel discussion. You guys give a round of applause for that. Before I start with the discussion, I just want to give a little bit of brief history about this holy sanctuary you guys are sitting in. This church is called Union Temple Baptist Church. It was founded by the Reverend Dr. Chester Smallwood in 1969. He is the father of the famous gospel singer, as many of you guys may know, Richard Smallwood. After his passing, the Reverend Dr. Willie F. Wilson, our senior pastor, was called to pastor this house of God. With a vision from God, Pastor Willie F. Wilson has been able to lead, guide, and teach here at this fine institution for 50 plus years. Please give a round of applause for that. Our leaders, guides, and teachers over here in Washington, D.C. and all over the world. This holy house right here served as the base for the most memorable Million Man March. It was here where we did all the organizing, all the planning, all the strategizing. We figured out all the logistics for the great Million Man March. And it is here where the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be coming to speak and to give us life tomorrow. Amen? I'm honored to be standing here today representing the ministry of Union Temple Baptist Church to stand in the vineyard for our community, for the church, and for our people. Before we get started, I would like to invite one of my dear brothers, Student Minister Jabril Muhammad from March number 4 up to say a few brief words. You gotta give him a round of applause.
How's everybody doing today?
Fine, sir.
All praise be to Allah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah who appeared to us in the person of Master Father Muhammad, the one to bring all of us together into a mighty nation, to become a mighty people, regardless of creed, class, gang, religion, original people coming together to be one, a mighty nation. So we thank him for raising up from among us the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the man of whom we bear witness to be the most exalted Christ, the Messiah in our midst. And we thank him for we thank him for our national representative of the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Y'all gotta forgive me. I'm a little
it's all right, go ahead.
A little overwhelmed almost. On behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his student regional, Mid-Atlantic Regional Minister Abdul Qadir Muhammad, I'm his assistant minister. And it just brings me great joy to be before my brothers and sisters and before a great panel, our brother Vinex, 19 Keys, and brother Riza Islam, and our sister Asma Sarah. Thank you, my queen. I shared an Instagram video of yours, and my dear brother here who's training up the young brothers and sisters to make sure that we are quite aware of how to handle the weapon.
Right.
For as we are taught in the FOI, the Food of Islam, that we should be able to take the weapons out of the hands of the enemy if they were to draw it on us.
Yes, sir.
So, what I wanted to bring, I brought a few notes, I hope y'all don't mind. This is a few words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He says, and this is from an excerpt from volume 37, number 50 of the Final Call newspaper, entitled Rethink the Old Slave Master-Slave Relationship. He said, we need to turn constructively inward, pull our resources intellectually and financially, and begin to build a future for ourselves and our children. We must patronize ourselves as others patronize themselves. This is the way to build a valuable economy and earn the respect of self and others. Brothers and sisters, it is very important that we turn our motives, turn our goals towards establishing a society, a civilization of our own. For in our book, the Holy Quran, it talks about how everyone has a goal to which they turn themselves. We have to be clear of what is called vanity. And this is what I want to bring to my brothers and sisters for this brief moment. Vanity. We must overcome vanity or vain desires to unite for one common cause. Let's look at that word. Vanity or vain. The etymology of that word from an old French form, the word is vanus, which is Latin, which means empty, without substance. So as we are transitioning from an old world, a civilization of white supremacy, into a world of excellence amongst the black or original people of the earth, a world of freedom, justice, and equality, we must stand clear and be clear that we are not trying to get attention or trying to be great out of vain desires to be prominent in a society or to get wealth or physical wealth in a society where we are witnessing so much poverty. But it is important that we get wealth, but how are we getting it? That's the question. How are we getting our wealth? Are we working 9 to 5 for a job, or as we can say, a plantation? Or are we pulling our resources to come together and create jobs? This is what needs to happen today. This is called being righteous and being upright in our works and our activity. This is not being vain. But when we are moving around and say, I have this type of car, I have this Tesla, or I have this Ferrari, I think that everybody in this audience is coming into the clear knowledge that that's not all what life is about, all right?
That's right.
All praises due to Allah. So, as I stand before this conscious community, I want us to realize and remember that as we are meeting, that we should not just take this moment and forget about it after it is over. We should network with each other. We should come together. We should build each other up. We should assist each other because each of us have a goal towards building a new world. So this is something I just wanted to bring to my brothers and sisters, and not to delay the program any further, but to continue the program. And I would like to bring up my good brother, and I leave you as I greeted you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Give our student minister another round of applause. Next, I would like to bring up one of our other powerful brothers, all the way from New York City, Brother Red Pill.
Yes, sir.
Peace and love to the family. Please give yourselves a hand. Love and light to my beautiful paradigm shifters, all of you. First and foremost, I just want to say, pay attention to where we're at right now. Just take a look and look around. We're inside of a church. But not only are we inside of a church, we're inside of a black church. Doesn't it feel different? We're not inside of a Roman cathedral. We're inside of a dream that became a reality. Because we always talk about, oh, nah, I talk about, I believe white Jesus. But every Sunday we don't pull up to black Jesus. So this is a manifestation of an idea in real time. When you get a chance, please go downstairs. The whole downstairs looks like the real Black Museum. So this is just a small example of what it is that the paradigm shifters represent. We represent what you see right here, taking an idea and bringing it into fruition in real time. Everyone that you see up here that's sitting on the panel has done that, has already showed that in real time that they're putting their works to shift the paradigm. And like the brother was saying earlier, inside of the word community is unity. There is no community without unity. So we throw this word conscious community around a lot. But if you have no unity, you have no community. So the power of coming together as a collective, what I call the proverbial forming of Voltron, is what needs to take place. This is Chocolate City. I was riding through Chocolate City earlier, looking at the condition of Chocolate City. All of the chocolate in the city. And we could do better. You dig what I'm saying? This is the historic Washington, D.C. Chocolate City. You know, the historic Black colleges, all of that. The potential is definitely here. So I'm happy that we're here doing what we're doing. This is a campaign. The same way that you wait and see who's going to be for Senate, these brothers and sisters sitting up here are campaigning for the hearts and minds of the people because it's time for action. And the only thing stopping us is us. The potential for everything to change overnight exists right here. You dig what I'm saying? So please, you know, I'm honored to be here. I'm going to sit back and soak up some information because I know it's a lot of bars and gyms coming from the shifters. We're here to shift your mind state. We're here to shift your perception. We're here to shift your limits that you've placed upon, not you per se, the programming placed upon your perception. I call myself the red pill. And what I do is I administer pills in order for you to clear up the reality that you thought that you were in. Because a lot of us are inside of the illusion. Once we lift the veils back, we begin to see everything for what it is. There was just an anniversary the other day, 9/11. Remember that? It took place in the city where I'm from, New York City, and in Washington, D.C. via the Pentagon. Facts. This was a spell. This was a program. As you can see, fast forward, the world has changed drastically. But a lot of the things that we took for conspiracy, or a lot of the things that we didn't think were perceivable after 9/11, as we can see, it's all in front of you. So there's no more excuses. We know that the time is now. We know that what we have to do is to tap into sustainability, tap into cooperative economics, tap into all of the new economies that exist. Do you know that there are multiple economies? The trust economy, the gig economy, the share economy. Do you know all of these things? The blockchain technology. All of the tools that we need are available in front of us. And the power is in the people. That's the missing equation. But once again, it's going to take unity. So each one of these brothers and sisters represent a nation amongst themselves. Power. Because we live in a new economy where the power is in the numbers. And we live in a future where in a few, I don't know, maybe in a few months, you're going to see that you're going to be able to monetize all of these numbers. So I'm not going to hold everybody. All I want to say is, please let everybody, you know, do what they do, shine their lights, let the family know what they do. If you want to learn, if you want to tap into more of what me and my brother does, all you got to do is go to Google, put red pill, blue pill, and know the ledge inside of the Google or the YouTube, and they'll take you on a journey. All right? Thank you for your time. Love and light to the family. Peace.
want to let you guys know that we've got an all-star panel here. Amen? Look at everybody up here. See, we have so many awesome figures in one space. You can't see them all, amen? There's so many of them, but we're packed together because we're brothers and sisters. Ain't that right?
Yeah.
All right. Y'all get y'all some of this knowledge here. Next I want to have to come up to speak will be our dear brother Pop Darwin. Please give him a round of applause.
What's happening, family? Hey, look. First, I'm gonna say I'm standing in the middle of my dream as I stand right here. Y'all look at this panel, man. Imagine if them people at that table really was able to sit like that. It's 2018. We gotta think about now. They are. They're here. We got the teachers of all of them inside of each one of us. But all right, my name is Pop Darwin. I'm an intellectual property strategist. I'm not gonna say a lot right now. I'm just gonna talk about what I do and what the direction of today is about. Because we have cultural and economic influences all in front of us, and they're able to grab the masses and turn their bodies so they can pull the best out of themselves. We are not our carbon bodies. We are the souls inside of us, and we can unfold into a better person. And each person here, I went to school for engineering. Each person here is an engineer, a spiritual energy engineer, and they're teaching you how to unfold into a better person. And now we can structure it out. So in history, everything in history, people have came together in rooms like this. The Federal Reserve is set up by 300 families. It's about 300 people in here. So we literally can create our own money. We can create our own Federal Reserve. We can create our own energy, channel it and put it in a direction that's useful for all of us. When we talk about pooling resources, we're talking about mental, physical, emotional, everything. Whatever we need to do, we can get it out of this room. Ascension is from within. We are our disciples. We are our vision. All we have to do is make it come true and come together and do it. I'm ready to get started. Y'all ready? It sounds good.
All right. Please give our brother another round of applause. Next up to speak, we will have our dear brother 19 Keys. Please give him a round of applause. Now, before we start speaking, I want to say that my brother and I, we got together about a few months ago, and we've been talking about this event for a while. And it's so beautiful to see it manifested and to see everyone here today. So please give my brother another round of applause. Thank you.
Peace and blessings, family. How's everybody doing today?
Fine, sir.
More importantly, what you feeling today?
Energy. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Good.
What I like to do, and what I believe that I do, is updates people's consciousness to real-time reality, so that we actually have applicable change. I heard the brother say something earlier today. He said, my father's been doing this for 50 years, and that the people still haven't changed. And for me, that represents that we have to find a new way, and finding that new way looks like reprogramming the way that we move and the way that we think. And a paradigm is a collection of habits. It's our programming, it's our reference thinking, whether it's passed down through traditionalism, culture, our family, whatever it may be. But a lot of times we need to rewrite that programming to get it better. If our parents give us an outdated program of thinking, then we need to update ourselves and then reprogram them and reteach them. Oftentimes in society, we've taught to be accepted by authority. And when you're accepted by authority, because school in German means to be accepted by authority. So you're teaching people to be accepted by authority, whether they're right or whether they're wrong. And this establishes more of a slave-master paradigm. And we allow ourselves to be dominated by whatever's the frequency, or dominated by whatever's been set before us before we came here, instead of saying, wait a minute, that don't really make sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense, create your own. And so, regardless of anything that has been here before we got on the stage, or any faith or construct of religion or ideology or language or reference towards time, everything needs to be constructed to make sure that it makes sense to us and that it's aligned with our nature. Religion in its essence was created so that it's supposed to give you rules, And it's supposed to give you order and balance so that you can actually live within your nature. But environment is stronger than nature, and our environment is a liability because it's no longer connected to our nature, especially our nature as Black, Moors, Asiatic, original people of this planet Earth. And so one thing I do is I tell people that every level of consciousness comes with a new language. If you want to be rich, then you can't speak the same language as you do right now. If you want to have a divine level of superior, higher consciousness, then you have to change the words you speak. You have to change the habits that you partake in, the people that you're around, your very environment from inception. And so once we start to balance that out and we start to look at that in our daily lives, now we start to have to become better managers of ourselves and the people that's around us. And when you become a manager of your activities, you are able to organize everything that you do to get to set obligation and goals. One thing that we don't have in our community, and the reason that I believe that we lack any real progressive order, is because we don't have any solidarity. So we can say that, yo, I love my people, but you don't know them. How can you love somebody that you don't know? You love the idea of who our people represent, which is representing ourselves, a world family that we have. But what's our next holiday? Halloween, and Thanksgiving, and Christmas? None of that actually builds any community structure. None of that actually breeds any solidarity between the people to where, imagine if we did this every 19 days, and every month. Now the people would know each other, the people would come together, we have business meetings. Now we actually know each other, now I love you. Now if something going on with you, I'm checking up on you. Now you got a business plan, I'm supporting. But if our rules, and the brother said white supremacy, I just sort of want to correct him on that because we have to more so recognize it as the white patriarchal intellect. And when you understand that, you understand that we're living in a white man's mind. And by the white man's mind, I mean that his structure of time and also his structure of language. And when we use that to live our lives, it's hard for us to get away from this rule because it becomes the authority in our life. So like what my brother does at home banking, he's looking at this white patriarchal intellect and how they set up the economy and the structure of finance. And he said, wait a minute, this might not be the best for our people. Let's look at it a different way. When my brother, Billionaire PH, sells his book at, $963.36, he's changing what it means to value knowledge because one thing that we don't have set in our paradigm is the value of knowledge. We buy shoes, we buy clothes, we buy all these things to satisfy our ego. And when we do that, we are really only trying to increase our chances of having sexual mates. So it's a lower form of consciousness, it's a lower form of activity. My brother Pop Darby gives you the mathematics on how you can break down the economic paradigm, whether it's through microfinance or bringing crowds together to showcase their power, and he turns you into a mathematical thinker where you can apply the science. He changes the way you think when it comes to what unity is. When my sister Ajna comes show you how you can heal yourself and how you can take that trauma and transmute it into positive energy collectively, and you don't have to ever accept no, and you can bet the house, as she say, then it's changing what you believe that you can manifest in real time as your structure of thought and thinking. Well, my brother RZA operates like an AI computer machine with super fast. He's showing you that you can do the same thing, it just takes practice.
Yep.
And with that practice, you become a scientific machine, mathematically capable of building your own brand to change the world, to where you can reach millions. You don't just have an idea of changing the world, you actually start changing minds by feeding them the information that they need to make better decisions. Well, my brother BNX showcases that you can be young but wise at the same time. And you can find something that you love, turn into a talent and purpose, and literally reach millions of people every week and change and transform lives without waiting for somebody to give you the say-so or acceptance to do it. My brother Red Pill, he takes you through all different dimensions of decoding the paradigm and being able to see the synchronicity and the numerology of mathematics consistently every single day. Malachi brothers, they showing you a paradigm of one is a Muslim and one is a Christian, but they twins. This is interesting what you got up here at the panel. This is interesting what we showcase, and there's nothing more that we can say better than what we showcasing as far as what we're doing, which is coming together, uniting, and showcasing the example of unity because in older paradigms and the current one, it's hard for leaders, it's hard for individuals to come together and unite for the purpose of solution-based thinking. So when I hear solutions community or a conscious community, it's more so like a conscious neighborhood. It's more so like a conscious hood. It's not a community because we don't really have each other's back. We don't really check on each other. We're not really building with each other. If it was a community, then we'd be changing the world already. Because we have some of the most genuine geniuses that decode the entire paradigm, taking it back to whatever you want to go to, they take it into every dimension and every level. But when it becomes an actual community, then we're working together, then we have solidarity, then we're moving, then we're saying that this is the idea we want to bring to fruition, then it's done. So, my job is to create a world of keys. And where I really get the inception of the thought and the impression of 19 keys comes from Master Muhammad. And he said that there's 17 million original people and 2 million Indians, and that represents 19 million rusty locks. Which means that there's 19 million keys to unlock those people. And if you look at every prophet, every leader, every teacher, whether it's Buddhist, whether it's whoever it may be, what they was trying to give to the people was energy in the mind, enlightenment, so that they can never be cast down by authority and put them in a dark place where they can be subjected to slavery. And until we take ourselves out the programming of believing that we can't be the masters, because it's not just about not being a slave, it's about being a master. Controlling our culture, controlling our language, controlling our time, controlling our business, our finances, whatever it may be, we're supposed to have control over that. So, I just wanted to, I'm not big on claps and things of that nature because I want people to take the information, use it for better decision making. And when we present some of these ideas as far as what we want to do to create a paradigm and a change, we want everybody in here to work with us. So therefore, we can say when we create these events, we establish relationships and we actually deal with everybody that's here. It's not for you to have, a motivational speaker or we become your conscious drug dealer where it feels good to hear us say something that's great, then you come back to us for more conscious drug dealing to feel better and we become your opiates for escapism the same way entertainment is. No, we actually want to say, I want to change your pattern of thinking so it changes your behavior and then we change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother 19 Keys. Next up, I would like to present Sister Ajna. Please give her a round of applause.
Nobody has told you that they love you today. Just in case you ain't heard it from a genuine place this week. Just in case you're still waiting on your mama to tell you for 5 years. Just in case your daddy left when you was 3. Just in case nobody that you felt like the love should have came from told you that they love you. Well, here I am, little baby, if you will receive it from me. I want to just let you know that I love you and I like you and I like you. Like is so important to me. We're going to talk about like a little bit later. But I am Reagan Gilmore, also known as Ajna Sarah of the Healing Place. I run an international blossoming dynasty of creative thinkers that have taken the responsibility, that have taken the challenge to actually do the work to heal themselves. The Healing Place family is dominated by melanin, and I love it like that, but we are accepting of all because everything and everyone is a tool to get to the destination that we desire to arrive to. What we have decided to do, individually and collectively, is to participate in our own rescue. Yes. So often we sit around waiting on other people to save us, waiting on other people to give us permission to be well, waiting on somebody else to tell us that now it's okay for you to forgive others, now it's okay for you to forgive yourself, now it's okay for you to let that go. And in the Healing Place family, what we decided to do is refuse to wait on anybody else's permission for us to be the best versions of ourselves. We just decided to get it done. By any means. That is who I am, that is what I represent. I'm so elated to be able to share this time and space and place with you. Time is your most valuable asset. Even though in this dimension it is another paradox of an illusion, but time you don't get back, not on planet Earth. So the fact that you think us worthy, that you would share your most valuable asset with us, your time, I personally vow to give you something worthy in exchange. So just sit back, chill, wait a little while, let us love on you, and I will repeat it just in case somebody else didn't hear it, just in case it didn't resonate, just in case you thought I was playing with you. If nobody has told you that they love you today, Please permit me to be the first. Why love? Because love covers a multitude of sin. See, love alone is not enough. Love all by itself, it ain't gonna keep the lights on. You can't take it down to IPL. It ain't gonna turn the water on. But baby, let me tell you something. If you ever lacking something, if you're ever trying to figure out the missing ingredient, I dare you put some love on it. So with that being said, I love you, I like you, I like you. Let's get it started, family.
Please give her another round of applause. That was beautiful. You are loved. Next, I would like to introduce to the rostrum our brother Derek Grace. Please give him a round of applause.
How y'all doing? What's going on, family? My name is Derek Grace. I'm 29. I'm a #1 selling author, homeschool instructor, and an international speaker. I don't want to take too long in the introduction. I just want to get busy. So I created something called Unlearn and Relearn like 5 or 6 years ago, and I think the time is more important than ever that we whitewash out our old ways of thinking and create and get a perspective on the world from an individual perspective. But that's it for me. I'm just ready to get busy, so now you can take it.
Man, for this brother, we got all the time in the world for this powerful moment right here. Next up, I would like to introduce our brother Rizza Islam. Please give him a round of applause.
Peace, family, peace.
Peace, brother. Peace.
Peace, family.
Peace.
Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
You ready to get busy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, y'all looking at me like I'm some alien or something. I'm gonna get y'all that. Well, my name is Brother Rizza Islam. First, let me open properly in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah who appeared to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad. And I further bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted Christ. And I further, in present time, bear witness every day that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our divine guide, warner, and teacher in what we call the hells of the wilderness of North America, currently under divine judgment, whether if we know it or not. I greet all of you with the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.
That simply means peace be unto you. That is in the original language. That did not come from a Caucasian Arab, but that is an African traditional way of saying peace. Is that all right? These are the facts. Is that okay? So we're going to drop some more facts today. My name is Brother Rizza Islam. I am what you would call an intellectual extremist. Y'all nervous? Come on, I gotta go. Intellectual extremists, with an X, not an EX, meaning we are destroying every form of the Caucasian's mentality, culture, way of living, way of killing one another. Is that okay?
Yes.
Way of suppressing one another, way of treating women as though they are less than such, way of treating brothers as though they are less than human. We have to shift our entire framework of thinking. Is that right? And it is not simply a talk thing, it is an action thing. So what I do, some of you have met me before social media. I just jumped on social media maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. I've been working in the community since I was 12 years old, primarily in Compton, California. I have recently jumped on social media and have taken what I do in person to social media, which is not simply dropping facts, but eradicating every lie that the enemy has brought to you and simply giving you the truth about what is really going on, what the true agenda is, and giving you as many problems to eradicate as many barriers and to bring as many solutions, to eradicate all the problems, all the barriers, and everything that you see happen. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
So anytime they tell you something about racism doesn't exist, you see something different every day. Is that right? Is that okay to say that racism kind of does exist, right? Maybe a little bit. Racism exists a little bit. Because I know some of us, our minds are like, no, racism don't exist, brother. Okay, I got you. There is an illusion of white supremacy. Brother Red Pill said white supremacy. Our brother 19 Keys gave a different description. There is a system that still exists. A system that did not originate on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. They're right down the street. But it is a system that is perpetuated, started over 6,000 years ago, perpetuated today, 2018, and possibly in the future for some period of time, primarily by us. Which is, I don't like you because I hate myself. I don't like you because I don't like my mother. I don't know my father. I've been killed every single year because I look like this. So how can I love something that causes me so much damn pain? It is better to be white because it is less painful. It gives me more opportunity. So let me bleach my skin, number one product being sold in some of the countries of Africa. Let me put a weave in my head with horse hair and hyena hair to give myself a Eurocentric style of beauty because my beauty I see as wicked and evil and disgusting. Let me speak with more articulation because it makes me sound as though I am European and an African American because we invented thinking, but it makes it seem as though somebody else did. The fact of the matter is, the number one thing that will not happen is we will never see freedom, justice, and equality until we unite. Number one. Is that all right? What this means is, it don't matter if you're a Christian, Muslim, Pan-Africanist, RBG, Hebrew, Israelite, whatever you want to call yourself, brother, that's cool. Sister, that's cool. Ashe, Islam alaikum, peace. I feel you. But when it comes to this enemy, damn it, you a nigga. Now we in the church, right? We in the church. We're gonna tell the truth, right? The word church in Greek means community. So we're gonna talk to the community today. If you and I continue this sick mentality of Willie Lynch and prior to him, where you find it easier and I find it easier to divide based off of my color, my status, how much money I make, the type of shoes on my feet, how many Gucci glasses, belts and Prada purses and Victoria's Secret lingerie I have. And everything else with all the nonsense that we as brothers spend money on that we can't afford. You got brothers living in storage units but have a 2019 Mustang outside. If we continue this nonsense, the enemy will continue to do what he has been doing for a very long time. I'm almost finished. So what I do and have been doing has been exposing every agenda. Some of them I have not been able to expose as of yet because they are so heavily wicked to where I have to come up with as many solutions first. Because the one thing we cannot do is overwhelm one another with the problem. Like we've been doing for so long. We know all the problems. Raise your hand if you know what problem that black folk got right now. Raise your hand if you know 5. What about 10? We all got the facts on the problem. We know all the problems. All of them. When it comes to the solutions, we don't know too many of those. So before I drop problems, I come up with the solution. I locate them. I meet with scientists, elected officials, all of these individuals. I don't give a damn where you are, how high you think you are. My people will rise whether you like it or not. And your job is to be a servant of humanity. That's what you want to call it, even though a human comes from the word humus, meaning the dark matter of the earth, which means the black and or original matter. So the only reason why human beings exist is because of the black man and woman. So if you then say all lives matter, is saying black lives matter. So you can't say all lives without saying black lives. Sorry. It's real. It's real. I didn't write that. Y'all like I said, you speed his videos up. How many of y'all thought I'd sped my videos up? Raise your hand. No, it's okay. You can be honest. I know. The king don't like that. Okay. So the thing that we must do, family, is we must find every single way to unite. Find every way to love one another. Find every commonality. Find everything that you can agree with, not things you disagree with. We have black women. Not all black women are bad. I'm going to say this right now. Not all black men are dogs. Sisters, you ain't got to agree. Some bitch, she like, yeah, brother. I got to say it again. Thank you, sister. I'm saying it again. Not all black women, I'm going to say, are bad. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that there is no such thing as a no good woman. Every no good woman was made no good good by a no good man. And if a no good woman made a no good woman, then that no good so-called woman was made no good by a no good man, so on and so forth. It started with a man who did not have the right mind. And we have to take our mind back in order for us to take our land, our culture, our religion, our folkways, mores, and our overall understanding of life itself back. So you and I must become extreme in our push for survival. Is that okay? Yes. So as you see police officers do what they do, brothers, I'm going to say this now, you might think it's a little radical, but radical simply means to go away from the norm in a drastic manner. If you see them murdering us every single day and you sit there and do nothing about it, you are a coward. I'm going to say this very succinctly. Facts. Okay. If you sit here, and I'm going to sit down, this is my intro. If you sit there and do nothing, you cannot say you are a man. As a matter of fact, you can't say you're a black man. You say that. You can't say you're the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth. And you better not say God of the universe. What? Have the ability to have a heart and a love for yourself so you can have the heart and ability to love your sister. All right. Your mama, your daughter, your family in the community. Even if you sincerely hate yourself, fine. Hate yourself, don't care about yourself. But care about her, care about him, care about them, care about us, because without us, we will not go anywhere. So that is my intro, family. And I pray I dropped enough simple facts, because we're going to get to some heavy stuff later on. Peace.
All right, thank you, brother. Next up, we'll have Brother Billionaire PA and our young brother Sergio. Please come up. Please give him a round of applause.
Can I tell them to clap, please? Alright, clap one time if you believe in yourself. Clap 2 times if you want to unlearn and relearn. And clap 3 times if you're going to execute what we talking about up here today. When I was locked up, I've been in jail over 15 times before I was 21 years old. When I was locked up, one of the quotes that I wrote was, never spend your present time with a person that you don't have a future with. So what that means is, if I cannot see myself with you today, don't call my phone tomorrow. And as I spoke this dream into existence, to sit with Brother Rizza, 19 Keys, Asha, you know, Brother Ben, Derek Grace. And it's amazing how you can speak something and really manifest that. And when I look at this picture right here, I got to do something that these people didn't even get the opportunity to do. I got to sit with other leaders and live the dream. You know what I'm saying? It was my dream to sit next to my brother Derek Grace. But I didn't want to introduce myself. I wanted to show y'all one of our mentees that we mentoring up here. And I want to give him this microphone, and I want to show y'all what we create. Because if a 12-year-old can go from speaking his dream at 12 to living his dream, why can't you? Facts.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? My name is Trey Brown, and I'm a 12-year-old entrepreneur. I started my own clothing line called Spurgo, and Spurgo is a catchy name that I came up with for my sports and all my personal heroes. And I chose the lion as a part of my logo because the lion is strong, the lion is powerful, and the lion is courageous. Also because I am powerful, I am strong, and I am courageous, and my desire is to be a successful young black entrepreneur, and I have everyone across the world wearing my brand. So I'm from Philadelphia, and I go around, and for real, my goal is to empower urban youth to be great and to show them what's really great. Like with
Come on, let it out, brother. Take your time.
Because in my city, a lot of youth, they think shooting at one of another, that's great, but I want to show them that buying their mother a house, that's great. Showing them that empowering other youth, that's great. I want to show them what's really great and want to show them what's really powerful in the world. So that's what I am.
Spurgo, I'm glad you came, brother, because it was hard to go after Brother Rizzo. Man, I love that kid so much, man. We took him to Hawaii, and it was his first time on an airplane, you know, coming to LA. So thank you, Spurgo just drove all the way from Philly to come down here, man, and I just felt like it would be essential to bring him up here, because if a kid can come from Philadelphia and drive his car all the way to be here, I don't really got no excuse for no grown folks not having a wealthy mindset. Yeah. So I wrote a book that 19 Keys was talking about, and I sell my book for $963.36. 36 is the number of months that I was actually homeless. 63 is the number of days that I actually slept in the back of my truck. So it's real hard for a person to walk up to me and tell me that I cannot charge what I'm worth because you didn't sleep in that truck 63 days and you went homeless for 36 months. I wrote 83 books in 63 days. And the reason why I priced that book so high is because I wanted people to appreciate my existence when I'm living and not when I'm dead. Right. And a lot of times people, my cousin, she died when she was 7 years old, and she got more flowers dead than when she was alive. And I thought that was the most ignorant thing you could ever do, to let me appreciate her flowers when you should have gave them to her when she was living. So all my brothers and sisters up here, I want y'all to do me one favor. Don't wait on not one of them to die to value what they up here doing. Don't wait on nobody up here to die to say, oh, I knew I should have, you know, got in Derek Grace's class, or I knew I should have, you know, tapped in with 19 keys. No, we're giving you the keys right now while we living. You know, I'm not going to wait on Thanksgiving to sit down with my family and be thankful. I'm not going to wait on Mother's Day to tell my mama Happy Mother's Day when she's been a great mother all 365 days of the year. So when I priced that book at $900, I looked at it within the black community. I see all my black people, we go out, and I think Brother Rizzo mentioned this, we get us some Gucci, we get us some Louis Vuitton, and we'll spend $1,000 on that. But we won't spend $1,000 to get our mind right. So you mean to tell me if you went to the doctor and the doctor had to cut your feet off or your neck off, you basically saying you would cut your neck off because you'd rather have them Gucci shoes?
Crazy.
That's crazy to me, man. That's real, that's stupid. That people think their feet more valuable than their mind, but you cannot even live without your mind. And that's why I wrote the quote, tie yourself to greatness before failure chokes you. So I tied myself with other leaders. And I can confidently stand right here and speak for each and every one of them, because we didn't just come together and just say, we're going to sit on this panel together. I know each and every one of these people personally. Like we spent time in Simply Wholesome in LA with Derek Grace beat 19 Keys. Like I've grown to know these people, man, so it's bigger than just, we want you to sign up and buy something. Man, I ain't even doing this for money no more. I'm doing this to see my culture truly understand the value of speaking their dreams into existence. And like what Brother Rizzo said, if you're not about bringing change to our people, man, just stay sitting down, man. I'm only looking for the leaders. And that's why I put a billboard up in Hollywood that say, don't follow me, lead with me. And then I wrote a quote that say, if you got less money in the bank than you got followers on Instagram, you need to get you a new group of friends. Right. So I want to encourage us to go from being a follower to being a leader. I'm sitting right here next to Brother BNX, and I ain't even gonna lie to you. I told the brother I was nervous. And I do this all the time. But it was, as much as y'all want change in y'all life, it was my dream. I go around the world individually and I've inspired a lot of people to speak their dream into existence. But this was my dream, to be around other people where I don't have to speak as much. Anytime you walk up to somebody and people always asking you the questions about everything, you're in the wrong group. I don't even have to, I was like, brother, I really don't even have to go. I want to do what Derek Grace said. I'm just ready to get productive. But, hey, my two twins, I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all, brother, and I speak into existence that y'all continue. I want y'all to make sure. Y'all know this right here. I appreciate your existence while I'm living. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you one of these books, man. Hey, Y'all make sure y'all frame this book, because I don't give away too many books. This book better get framed. Hey, I love y'all so much, man. And we're going to end like this right here. Clap one time if you believe in yourself. Clap 2 times if you love yourself. And clap 3 times if you're going to unlearn and relearn. I love y'all, man. Stay positive.
All right, you guys, we've reached that time. But before we further into our program, I want to introduce one more brother. He's last but not least, our dear brother Ben X.
Go ahead, Ben X.
I don't know why they had me go after all that. But anyways, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, who lifted up for us, or raised for us, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the exalted Christ, and left for us a divine warner and guide in our midst, my spiritual father. The reason that I'm here, if it wasn't for him, y'all wouldn't see no brother Ben X. That's none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And there are 3 names I would like to greet you all with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Now for those who don't know what that means, we didn't cut you out in no foreign language, okay? That just simply means peace be unto you. Now I'm probably I am the youngest on the panel. I thought I was the youngest in here besides our little brother Spurgo, so he came in here and stole my shine. But I have a quote. My favorite quote from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is, you never have to condemn a dirty glass, just put a clean one next to it. So if you ever follow me on Facebook, you ever follow me on YouTube or Instagram, you notice I always say that. And I don't have all of the facts like Brother Reza. I don't know everything, but I know the things that I do know, I try to apply it, which is why I make videos and I document and I make vlogs, because one thing I do know, if I can do it, y'all can do it. Y'all believe that? You gotta believe that, because I was once just a basketball player. I was a basketball player. I was an All-American basketball player in college, and I thought I was going to actually be playing basketball all of my life. I thought I was going to be shooting threes. I was the #1 point guard, well, not the #1 point guard, but I was #1 in the nation as far as assists, and I was number 15 in the whole country as far as basketball. I never saw myself really talking to y'all at all, to be honest with you. But what I found once I came into the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and I started to go to some of the study groups and listen to the minister online, I saw that it felt a lot better for me to see my people wake up than for me scoring 40 points and having 10 assists. It felt more better when somebody said that they're not going to commit suicide because of a video that I posted up. Or it felt a lot better for me, and it really gave me more peace when somebody said, because of these videos, my son is now changing because I feel like your videos is basically a father figure, or I'm not going to commit suicide because of these videos. So to me, that felt a lot better than me scoring 20 points and everybody liking my pictures or everybody liking my videos because I did something for myself. So what I found was when I served more people, I found more gratification in serving y'all than serving myself. I've been able to impact millions of people online. And the reason I say impact and change millions of people, because in scripture it says, be ye transformed by renewing of your what? It says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So the more we change our mindsets, that's when we begin to change our lives, because the minister said every action that we have is first led by a conscious thought. Y'all understand what that means? So I might be up here and I might be going like this and I might be dancing, I might be doing all kind of things, but it's from a command from my mind. So if I understand that that is what leads my mind, or that's what allows me to make certain decisions or move, I have to really get back to having a black guy mind instead of a white guy's mind. Because when I think about white racism, we don't have a picture of John Hawkins anymore. We can't point to J. Edgar Hoover as somebody who is setting up COINTELPRO. However, they do have a system in place, and when you have those physical chakras that we once had, now we have chakras on our minds, so they no longer have to be there anymore. And one thing that I always talk about is we kind of been treated like dogs. I don't know if y'all know any Bloods or y'all from Compton or anything like that. Look at Brother Reese, you know I just but when they greet each other, you hear them say, what's up, dog, right? Y'all know about that, what's going on, dog? But one thing the minister talked about is how we've been flipped inside out. So instead of saying, what's up, dog, it should really be, what's up, God? But when you think about how they trapped us, it's the same way they trapped the dog. So whenever you get a dog, you get the dog and you do what? You chain the dog up, right? What happened to us? When you get that dog, the dog may have had his own name. Dog may have been Chico. Now you name it Shadow, Pitbull, Monster, all that guy. Y'all know how we do. So once you chain that dog up, now you give him a name. But what happened to us? Whose name is Jones? Whose last name is Johnson? Whose last name is Smith? That's not really our last name. So the reason we have the X is because it's unknown, and we're basically making a statement that we're no longer a slave anymore. So y'all can have that name back. Y'all ever seen Roots, Kunta Kinte? They beat my brother up. He said, all right, I'm Toby now. But they had to cut his leg off. They had to do something. But nowadays, we willingly are calling ourselves those different names. So now when you chain the dog up, now you done beat the dog, now you done gave the dog a name. What happens next is you can now unleash the dogs from the chain. And then what's going to happen? Now the dog is defending you when it was first trapped by you, it was first beat by you. So now you have many of us who are defending white supremacy. Now you have many of us that is defending the white man's mind because they chained us up, gave us their name, then they beat us. Now they no longer have to have the physical shackles. Now they have the shackles on our mind, and they know if they can control our mind, they can control our actions. So, we talked about unity, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. One thing I learned from basketball is I gotta play my role. I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. Y'all know I'm 5'8", right? When I was playing basketball, people used to ask me, I used to say I was 6'2". I'm 6'2", you know what I mean? So one day, I'm on a fast break. The game is on TV now. I'm going down, there's a guy named Marcus Smart. He's actually in the NBA right now. I said, boy, this is my chance. I'm finna dunk on him. Now, I know in y'all mind, y'all saying, how is he finna dunk on somebody? So I came, and when I went up, I airballed the dunk. But I wanted to do something that I know I couldn't do. So what I learned from basketball is you gotta play your role. I am a point guard. I can pass you the ball, I can shoot mid-range. If I wanna get somebody to dunk the ball, let me throw the hoop to Brother Reason. See, if I can't shoot, I'm gonna just pass to somebody who can actually shoot. So in our community, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, your mother may have said 3 + 4 = 7. Your mama may have said 6 + 1 = 7. And somebody else may have said 7 + 0 = 7. But we have to realize is, if we get down to the common understanding, we all get to the same place. We all gonna win. We just get there different ways. So one thing in our community, we have to learn to play our role and do what I do best. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, pool our resources, come together and do something for yourself, but not by yourself. So that's what I learned from basketball, but there was a time when I had to quit basketball. And that was one of the hardest things that I have ever done. But like I said before, coming into the teachings, I felt more better and I felt at peace by helping my people. And so one day, I was about to quit and we had basketball practice. So the door is like right here. So I would go to the door, I got real nervous, and I turned back around. I went to the door, I was like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and tell them I gotta quit, I'm gonna do something else. I had to think about all the money that my father put into investing me AAU. I had to think about how my mother put all this money that was traveling with me to go play AAU. I had to think about all of my family members who wanted me to go to the NBA. I had to think about everybody who had all these likes and stuff on Facebook and Instagram. Brother Ben, you gonna make it, when you make it, give me a jersey. But one thing I learned from that situation is sometimes God gives you a dream or a vision that's not for everybody. So when you make that decision, or when I made that decision, I let a lot of people down. A lot of people actually wanted to cut me off. Are you going with the Muslims? Well, let the Muslims take care of you then. You've been eating pork all your life. Don't ask me for nothing. Go get that Farrakhan house then. So I got all those different things. And this is real. Some people, I had close people telling me, well, you're going to get yourself killed. You done ruined your life. But see, now because of the work, look at what I said. My favorite quote is, you never have to condemn a dirty glass, just put a clean one next to it. Them same people, right, that was talking about me saying I'm a failure now they saying, boy, look at Brother Billy, boy, you see him? That's my boy right there. They getting the final call and everything. So I'm saying that to say, how many of y'all have a dream in y'all head and some of y'all are kind of stagnant because you feel like your parents may not agree with it, or somebody, a family member or a friend may not like what you have? How many of y'all? A lot of us, right? So that's what I learned from that. I had to start learning that sometimes the way to make life easy is by making hard decisions. And I got to a place here where it says, to get to a place you've never been, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. And we know that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, right? Expecting the same results. So whenever we have something in us that we really want to accomplish, we have to get right down to ourselves. We have to make sure we believe it in ourselves. And eventually, the more you begin to show it, others will believe with you. And so I have a quote quote here that says adversity is the mother of creativity, and that's from the minister as well, because one thing that really pushed me to do what I'm doing is because I had the worst job in the world. Y'all probably thinking, what is the worst job? It's the warehouse job. I literally thought I was at slavery, y'all. Let me tell you about my job real quick, and we're going to be over with. I'm for real. Because when I told somebody one time, he said, man, how can I do for self? Man, how can I start my own business? I said, brother, go work at the worst job ever, and then watch how many ideas you get in your mind. Man, I'm going to go buy some water. I'm going to start selling water. I'm telling you, man, because y'all want to get out of that condition. So where I was at, man, they had me, so I was at this place, right, and they tricked me though. Look how they tricked me. Because for 6 hours I had help, but I didn't know ultimately I wasn't going to have help. So I worked at Sterling where you make those little buckets, right? So the bucket comes down, so I had to get the bucket, I had to put the wheels on the bucket, and I got to put it in a box and push it through this machine that puts tape on it. Maybe y'all know how many brothers know about that. But listen, I thought I was just going to make the bucket and somebody else was going to push it in. So when she left after 6 hours, here's another thing. I was fasting during Ramadan around this time. So this is a hot warehouse. I couldn't eat nothing and I couldn't drink nothing. So she asked me, hey, Brother Ben, you need something to drink? You looking kind of hot. I'm talking about, the black man is God. I don't need no water, man. Shit, I'm good, I'm chilling. Man, 12 hours went by. I'm asking for Hawaiian punch, Gatorade, all kind of stuff. But listen. So I had to put the wheels on the box, I had to make the box, I had to put the stickers on the box and push all that stuff through. I quit that job after 3 months. I really did. I quit that job after 3 months. But the thing about that, my mom told me, or my dad then was telling me, I don't think you want to do that job because your uncle done already quit and your brother done already quit. But I was telling them, man, I'm the black guy. Listen, though, we've been learning all this knowledge. I'm finna show you how to do this. So I kind of felt kind of bad because I was talking about them because they quit, but I quit later. But that did push me into doing for myself. So one thing that I learned is that adversity is the mother of creativity. So I don't know how this story can relate to y'all, but whatever you're going through right now, it may be something that's going to push you to where you actually want to go. That's all I have. I'll give y'all the rest later. Assalamu alaikum.
I would like to introduce or to bring up a dear brother who's really close to me, that's been with me in this struggle for 18 years now, and liberating the minds and freeing the spirit of our people. Please welcome my dear brother, my twin, Brother Malachi Wright. Peace and love, brothers and sisters. I said peace and love, brothers and sisters. I know we've been long and waiting for you guys to get this panel discussion going, but I want to take a second and turn the attention to you all for a second. I want you all to just know that my brother and I are really grateful for you guys coming out, because it's a Saturday evening. We know there could have been a lot of places you guys could have been rather than here. So I want to thank you for being here today to seek some knowledge and get the knowledge that you will receive today. I just want to tell and be an example for all my young brothers and sisters in the room today. For my brother and I stand here before you at the age of 18. And before we even organized this event, I never had any contact with any of the brothers and sisters on this panel discussion. It was a vision that came into our minds together to say, let's bring some love and some unity to DC. For we know that a storm is coming tomorrow. And before that storm comes, we have to prepare before the storm comes, right? So this is the preparation tonight. So I just want to say that with this image and with this dream that we have, there's no age limit to it. You could be 4, 5, 6. Don't let anybody put an age on your dream. Even if you're in the older stages of age. I'm not going to say any numbers because I don't want to disrespect anybody now. But I'm going to tell you that it's never too late to put your vision or to put your dream into existence. Because my brother and I did it here today. This is our dream coming true. This is our dream happening, manifesting in reality. So don't let anybody tell you that your dreams won't happen. I just wanted to stand here before you guys today as an example. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Malachi Wright. I'm a student here at Union Temple Baptist Church. I've been going here all my life. Yes, sir. I'd like to thank my dear pastor and co-pastor in their absence for allowing us to use these facilities today. I'd also like to invite all you all and Pastor Nika Wilson-Brown over here. Please give a hand for her. Please come up. This is one of our pastors right here. Please give her another hand. This is her house right here.
I just want to say good afternoon to all of you all. We welcome you here to Union Temple. We invite you to, hi, I see a couple people I know. We invite you to continue to come and fellowship with us. Thank you all for being here. And we want to invite you all out tomorrow. We are having an afternoon service where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be here as well. So we invite you all to continue to be in fellowship with us. We love you and peace be upon you all.
All right. Now we'll be starting our program. Due to time, we're going to jump right to the question and answer period. So if anybody in the audience has a question they would like to ask the panel, you can please come over here and form a line right here at the podium, and you can ask them the question, and the panelists will try to answer it to the best of their abilities. All right? Does anybody have a question?
I charge about. Y'all know what I charge. You got a question. I charge about a minute.
We didn't pass the mic around as well. Or, just because I know many people may not have the confidence to stand up all the time.
All right. If you don't have confidence, I'll ask a few questions. I got a couple of questions. All right, sister.
Peace. How y'all doing? I'm Tabitha. My first question is, like, what solutions, like, what's the first step? Like, what are y'all going to give us today? Just let us know the first step. I'm ready.
There's so many people that can answer that question. I want to pass it down to Derek.
No, that's what I wanted to hear from anyway. First step.
You said the first solution for what now?
Just like, what should we do when we leave here? What's our first step?
All right, I think everybody should focus on controlling the board, right? So when I say that, to me, the three biggest levels in life is going to be how do you protect yourself, how do you educate yourself, and how do you finance yourself. So that's why I educate entire families. I don't know how DC laws is, I ain't really looked up DC, but I urge everybody to educate themselves on firearm safety, down from granddaddy to the babies. Secondly, I urge everybody to practice self-education, because I think one of the only ways you're going to get a genuine and non-biased education is you're going to seek it from your own perspective. And then lastly, like something I see a lot of times with adults, I think unconsciously they're selfish a lot, right? How many entrepreneurs in the room? How many of y'all practicing inclusion and making sure the babies understand financial literacy and entrepreneurship at the same time? All right, quite a few, that's a good thing. So, you know, like my motto is family, business, or none at all. At all times, I practice inclusion. And I think like the word generational wealth got this old ring to it. People think you gotta be 60. When in all actuality, you can put your children in a position at 4, by the time they're 10, they'll be financing their own cars, own houses, own everything. So my thing is like, just controlling the board. And I understand that some levels in life, there's some variables we won't be able to control. But if I can control who helps us in time of an emergency, who helps us in time of a need, and who helps us in time of education, then at that point, like, I've darn near covered the most important parts of life. So as far as like, just solutions and where to start, I would tell you, number one, just practice inclusion. Anything, you got children? Okay, well, nieces and nephews, whatever, like, all of us have somebody that may be watching us or wanting to emulate us at some point. So I would say I'd say this, through life, right? And I don't know about the DC school system, but in Florida they taught you if you want to get smarter, you need to go to my school. If you want to be healthy, you need to go to my school. If you want good food, come to my store. If you want protection, call my agency. If you want to be educated, come to my college. I don't believe in that whatsoever. And I think a lot of times we forget that we're the actual ants and the people who build the foundations. But in return, the love that we give those foundations, it never get reciprocated. So like, I'm gonna ask this one question and then I'll pass it to somebody else. How many of y'all been baking somewhere for 10 years, 5 or 10 years? Can y'all walk in there right now and get $100,000 loan and liberate yourself so you can create an entity for your children?
No.
You feel what I'm saying? So we stimulate these economies to get nothing in return. I would rather us find small investments we can do with our babies right now, and then by the time we 30 and our baby's 10, 15, the entire family is practicing inclusion, and we're forced to be reckoned with. But again, my thing is just controlling the board. So I would tell you to assess what 3 things are most important to you in life, and then figure out how you and your family can tackle that from an independent perspective. Last but not least, like my motto is infiltrate, educate, and vacate. And something I learned about black people, some of us are so self-righteous, we won't even get out of our box to infiltrate another collective of people to figure out how they do what they do. I think one of my biggest gifts is my pops is 29 years retired Secret Service. I learned so much about that other demographic of people that's why I'm able to teach in-home banking, because I hung around the people who really play those type of games that feed off of us. So I would tell you lastly, like, don't be afraid to step out of your box and infiltrate another demographic of people so you can figure out how they do what they do. Last example is immigrants that come to America that gentrify our communities. How the hell we've been living here 30 years and we ain't figured out how to own nothing? That should bother us at some point, you feel me? So don't exclude them. I know some people that's that self-righteous, they won't have a conversation with a white person to figure out what a CPN and a trade line is. But I can guarantee you, half of the black people in here may not know what that is. That's an issue. So, and I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna pass it to somebody.
What's your name? Thank you for your question. I would first say that I believe self-improvement is the basis of community development. So I have 2 things. I have write down your dreams and then write down your goals. And some people may think that's 2 different things, or some people may think that's the same thing, but it's actually not. Your dream is actually what you want to see yourself doing, but you don't necessarily know how to do it yet. Like some people have a dream of, I want to eat today. You know you can find a way to eat today. So find out what your real dream is, what you want to do individually, and then what do you want to see in the community. And then your goals are going to be basically the steps to how you're going to do that. Also have changed the paradigm of your thinking, or change your paradigm, which is basically your paradigm of thinking, because like we said on the panel, many of us have the knowledge. We know about Noble Drew Ali, we know about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we know about all these different schools of thought, but we always ask the question, why isn't there any change? Or like the brother said earlier, that we've been preaching for 50 years and there's not any changes because we don't necessarily believe or have faith in the knowledge, either the knowledge or ourselves. So it's one thing to know about the in-home banking, it's one thing to know about finances, it's one thing to know about credit, but if you don't believe that you're capable of doing that, or if you don't believe that you can really produce generational wealth for your family, then you're never going to make it happen. So I would say first, start with yourself, start with what you can do individually, because we all have dreams, we all have gifts and talents, and when you think about the word unity, you got the word unit in there as well. So unity is a little bit different from uniform. Uniform is everybody got a suit and bow tie on, everybody got a garment on, everybody from the church, everybody from the RBG. It's not going to work like that. It's going to work by you bringing your unit, you bringing your unit, you bringing your way, and then we're going to find a way to tie it all together and see how we can come together on common grounds. So I would say find out what you can do individually, then when you meet another brother or you meet another sister, we're not coming together weak, we coming together strong.
60 seconds? 1 minute? What's your name, sister? Tabitha. Number 1, your skill that you have as of right now, whatever skill that you have or the thing that you're trained to do, whether you specialize in administration or you work with children or whatever it is that you do well, find an organization or a group that is going toward the goal that you have right now. That's something that you can do right now. Okay? Join that organization, and then when you join that organization, you use your individual skill to help further that organization's goal, which is a part of your individual goal. That's the first quick solution that you can have. Then, after you do that, or in the middle of doing that, then you practice the in-home banking course that Brother Derek Grace has. As you're doing that, you tap into Brother Ben there PH videos as far as speaking your dreams to existence. You need some inspiration, watch Brother Ben X's videos. You need more facts, watch mine. You need to continue to shift your mind, watch 19 Keys, and then to use the in-home banking and to stimulate the economy, watch Brother Pop Garbage videos, and then of course, for the feminine energy, watch Sister Aja's videos.
All right, so my answer is we actually become a team. So we be talking about white supremacy. I want to kind of put that in the trash and let's start saying white inferiority. So the structure that we've been a part of has created like the paradigm of, this is paradigm shifting by the way, the paradigm of there are poor people, there are middle class, and there are high class people. But if you leverage that out, the economy in America, if everybody would have the same amount of money, on average we would all have $700,000. So what they did is they forced people to become destitute and in need of other people. So what we do to break that is we actually build a team, and it's not just a conversation. So the benefit of networking is that we're not the only smart people. We could like entertain, we could be in a crowd and we could probably bring up 9 people that have even better answers or the same, you know what I'm saying? So now, if you watch my Instagram, you see I break down dimensions. So nowadays, dimensions create realms. So there are different realms. Some people play in the spiritual realm, some people play in the physical realm. What those people never had was the technology realm. It's new, it's brand new. The last 6,000 years, no matter what philosophy you study, it's talking about our age, it's talking about us in this room and what we're going to do to create a ritual procession into consciousness, wake up the world. You know what I'm saying? What we have to do that is to create an ascension from within. So I created a platform so that we can do it. Let's say there's 300 people in here. Imagine if we could have this meeting every day. Because of technology, we can. Literally a group chat. We invented that. That didn't exist 30 years ago. We literally invented group chats. Now we can stimulate our own economy by creating an economy next to our group chat. Everybody in here has goods and services, has products for sale. We use each other. We buy from each other. And I ain't talking about that free give me a deal shit. Oh, excuse my language. Excuse my language. I'm talking about actual support. Actual the economy is ran off of debt bonds, slavery. They created debt tax that we're born into. When we pay taxes, we don't even know why. Because it stimulates the economy, because it keeps things going and it makes us pay for everything they do. Then they channel our energy and put it into prisons, and stimulate it even more by pumping it up, instead of getting money out of us and our energy. So what we do is we pump ourselves up. We create our own vehicle in this room. We go download Community as Wealth app, we pay a $20 membership. But instead of paying a $20 membership that goes to one individual person, it goes to the group. We look at it, all we have to do is say, oh, there's 500 people in here, we got $10,000 this month. What y'all want to do? It's just a conversation. That's all we have to do. See, what I was gonna say. Whoever is against us is not stronger than who's on our side. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at that, we're not gonna let them down. Our ancestors are on our side. We're not gonna misrepresent them, we're not gonna knock on them. We're gonna do all that at the same time together. You know what I'm saying? And we're not gonna sell out with it either. Because it ain't needed. Like I said, if integrity is on the table, everybody eats. It's about a circulation of wealth. If 500 people in here are putting up $20 and creating a $10,000 pot monthly, that's never stopped. That's never ended. That's not an investment in a company that's gonna grow when we get residual. That's changing somebody's life every month. Literally. Circulating wealth. The Jews do it and they own neighborhood. So when you start doing it and start paying attention to where it's, okay, we can do it, then we do it business by business, house by house. After a while, you're gonna have a neighborhood. After a while, you're gonna have a block. After a while, you're gonna have a city. After a while, you're gonna have a state. After that, you're gonna have a country. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. So you know when you in class, they be like, don't pull your phone out. You definitely can pull your phone out and download Community as Wealth app because it's a 1-minute economy in here. So if everybody did that right now, by the end of this panel, I can show y'all how much we made. For real. That's how fast we have technology. We can do what we want to do. We don't need permission. Y'all want me to bring a white person in here to show y'all how that works? Or we gonna do what you said? That's all I want to say about it. Solutions. That's right.
Peace, family. There's so many different things that we can start to do, and all of us are doing something. And one of the great things is just either if you're not doing something, get behind somebody who is. The reason that we get lost so much is because we're in a constant rotation of our past, meaning that we learn our past, and that's all the information that we know. So that's what we use as our behavior radar. That's what we use as our decision-making mind as far as how we're going to think. So we're just operating in the past behavioral cycle. We're stuck. And ever since 1919, the building of Tulsa, Oklahoma, we've been in this 100-year paradigm of a paralysis. We had what the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. It's the first time somebody did something like that in 100 years. It's sad because when you look at black energy and you look at what we are, what we represent, in this country we built it. Everything that's great about this country is us. And every invention that's great in this country we've done. And there's nothing that's in this country that wasn't used and created by our energy. The problem is that we don't own our energy. So when you look at the collective sense and you look at what we're doing, this is the first step. So you really be talking about what's the next step after this. And so us coming together and forming a Voltron and saying that, look, we all have our own brands, we have our own ideas, but let's eliminate the ego and let's work together. Let's figure out a system where we can say, okay, I can do about 10, but together we can do 1,000. Let's say that it may take a year if I did it alone, but it'll take a day if we did it together. I think, the name of this event is called the Vision for the Future. But the problem is that if you don't have a vision for the future, then you don't control your future. You're just trapped in somebody else's vision. And we haven't been a planning people for a long time. When I used to go to city hall meetings or the school board meetings, they'd talk about contracts that'll last for the next 50 to 100 years. And I used to think, oh, I had never heard none of my partners plan for the next 10 years. And so when you're not the one planning out your future, you just caught up in somebody else's plan and development. So therefore it means that we actually don't own our future. But the idea of the future more so needs to consist to where we understand time being present. Because if we all decided literally today that, all right, these are the great speakers. Y'all came here because y'all already know this. So what we say here is just bonus for what we already do. But the action item would be saying that, look, I heard everything y'all talk about and I'm ready to operate on that today. And then tomorrow we just move it. But I wanted to impression an idea in your mind because I believe that you can't activate anything unless you first have an idea, you first have a vision. Like everybody seen Wakanda? Or what's the movie, Black Panther? But the idea was Wakanda. Forget Black Panther. The idea was that you were able to see a city to where it was built by black intellectualism. It was built where the sis had the science lab and they had graffiti on there. And I'm like, that's probably how we would build something. We wouldn't be all square and things of that nature. We wouldn't have a building like this church is built through black design. When you see those cathedrals, that's patriarchal intellect design. It's just square. And that's to captivate and trap your mind, but instead here, you can't have no slave-like mind when you got Uncle Elijah Muhammad next to Jesus. And talk about it. Go ahead. It's not trying to control you. It's allowing you to think for yourself to where you can't be a slave. But if you put one image, you say, no, only go to him. They say, wait a minute, you're telling me nobody else has the keys and the answers that I need? So I wrote a book. It's not out there. Relax. And in the beginning, it talks about impressioning the key. And the way you impression the key is you form a mold image, then you get a working key, then you can unlock. And it talks about how to impression an image, but there's a double meaning to impressioning, where it talks about throwing in a perception or a visual idea in your mind to where we are all aligned with the same thinking. And if you don't have a perception of something, you literally can't express it or you literally can't interpret that which is in reality. So I have a chapter in it called The Hereafter. You mind if I read this a little bit? Y'all mind? Yeah. You good? Let it go. It didn't matter. I was going to do it anyway. I just wanted to see if y'all was there with me. So it says, the ultimate thought experiment is to create a vision and prophesize the truth and then work until it comes into fruition. Growing up, I was taught about scientists who could predict the future, but in order for their predictions to come true, someone had to work to bring their predictions or visions into fruition. The future I was taught about as a child was called the hereafter, a future where systematic oppression, disease, corruption, injustice, inequality, and slavery no longer existed. A world ran by righteousness where churches and mosques and synagogues were no longer necessary because the people were the mosques and churches. They didn't go to them, they became them, and if you wanted to hear the word of God, you speak to your brother or your sis. Well, partying or praying at prescribed times were no longer necessary in practice because people prayed at all times, meditated at all times in their minds. The alignment of their psyche, spirit, body, and soul was ever present in the people. They walked around with glows of enlightenment, black and brown people with power and sovereignty, living in peace, separated from those who thought on different frequencies that would cause conflict and division. Scientifically capable people who built their own technology and raised genius children with ancient knowledge. Not a society based upon authority, but enlightenment. This is the vision that must come to fruition. This is the vision we must have where the people no longer get high on drugs because they master the kundalini within self. All foods are organic and we live a very long time, not by the current standard death rate. Everyone lives an energy asset lifestyle, have money, good home, friendships of all walks of life. Black families build legacies and empires and keep libraries and recorded history so that we never go backwards ever again. All black and brown people are mathematical thinkers with proficient knowledge of astronomy, physics, calculus, and economics at a very young age. The individual works to add to the collective, or the tribe, not the tribe, working around the individual. They gather to speak collectively to build the future for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. There's no more propaganda of marketing left-brain schemes and secret society organizations. All the symbols of positive and righteous and take back their original meaning. No more egregors and rituals that control the thoughts of the people, because an enlightened people have self-control. Self-rule themselves based off universal laws of enlightenment and mathematical thinking. Allow them to kill the conjuring thoughts of devilish men and technology that may creep up because they are well aware of it. And that consciousness gives them the power. So if prisons are necessary, then the prison system will not be as it is today, a torture chamber system of homosexuality, psychosis, and savage gang culture, but one with actual reform and methods preparing the minds to thrive in society. Laws that govern your well-being and keep in place peace, not instill fear. Communities that govern their own people with officers who have earned degrees to qualify, go through consistent evaluation and training so that abuse of power never sets in. Whose minds are clear and home life is stable, an entire new system based off righteousness. An entire society of people with quantum consciousness and pattern of thinking aligned with God's above emotions. I don't think I need to go any longer, but I wanted to impress on the ideas of a future society ruled by freedom, justice, equality into the minds of the people so that we can begin to manifest this future. This is the goal for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. This is the goal for the day. The idea is that when we talk about the vision for the future, we're talking about the vision for today. For this next 24 hours, this increments of time that we live, however we structure it, but we don't often think about what the hell is our future going to be. And if we're not managing our activities to organize our energy so that we own it, like what's the reason you go into a school? Most of what I've seen the statistics about black women being the most educated. Or when we have black geniuses that go work for corporations or government entities, we don't control that genius, so it's useless to us. What we celebrating and mean for. If that's not being, if our black energy and our black intellect is not being used so we can build out this vision for the future, then we wasting it. I don't care about your corporate job, I don't care about none of your degrees, none of it means anything to me unless we build it collectively, unless we establish something that's applicable. So a lot of people go for consciousness, but that's only kindergarten grade awareness. You have to go for enlightenment. Enlightenment, consciousness is saying I'm aware that I eat the wrong food, that ain't good for me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I know I had that burger. But enlightenment is saying, you know what, I'm gonna throw away all the free food in my fridge and then I'm gonna change to a better lifestyle. It's actually taking the energy of what you know and applying it in real time in real life, because it takes a lot of energy to make the right decisions, to have higher decisions being made for your life. So what we want to do is, I think what we can, I don't want to control the panel, but I think what we can go into is ideas of how we can work together and build and do some things that as soon as after we're done with this panel discussion, we can all work together. Because the words gonna sound beautiful, they're gonna be poised, they're gonna be poetic, but we want to change something. That's the new paradigm. We had Stokely Carmichaels, we had Malcolm X's, we had Martin Luther King, Elijah Muhammad, Noble Ali. We had so many different people. They already laid down the blueprint. You ain't got to reinvent the wheel, you just got to keep it going. So another thing is that when you look at a blueprint for success, and business is built off the white man's mind, they give you all the blueprints. They buy out a black company, then it's white owned. Well, you can bring a mastermind group together and say, look, that's a white company that we like, let's buy it and make that black owned. But we so afraid because we got that slave way of thinking of where we run away from things instead of becoming a master of it. So I think one thing that we can do is collectively come together and be like, let's start buying companies. Let's buy Airbnbs. Let's create juice shops over here. Let's tap in with unity as well. Let's tap in with all our brothers. Let's say, damn, let's just create an operation. People often telling me this group don't have an agenda, that group don't have an agenda. That's not even possible. And we sit here at this table and we put together a list of items that we want to get done, that's our agenda. So I think that we should form an agenda while we're in front of each other's faces, and then we just build afterwards.
Hey, is there anybody here that heard me talk about at-home baking before? Alright, I don't want to get none of y'all business. I'm going to ask you a question. Y'all can answer if y'all want to. Is there anybody in the room that got 5 grand to their name? 5,000 miles to their name. All right, so look, simple math. That's why I said we add complexity to things that really don't need it. If you got 5 grand, you loan out 5 grand to 5 different people whom you trust. And by contracts too, because everybody else said, where did they run up the money? Get a contract. The beauty of in-home banking is we get to decide what economies we want to stimulate. And I just gave y'all an example. A lot of y'all been banking somewhere for 10 years, stimulating their economy, but they won't give you a $1,000 loan. You might want to reevaluate y'all relationship and what y'all doing, because their children probably, their tuition is probably taken care of, and some of us are trying to struggle to get uniforms when school starts. But look, going back to the 5 grand. You got 5 grand, you choose 5 people who feel like they need a $1,000 loan, right? You're gonna loan all of them $1,000 a piece. You're gonna stimulate their economy. And something I learned with in-home banking is I've been doing this since March of 2017. And Ben and Keys can tell you, because I remember I hit y'all over a year ago with that concept, right? When it was first getting off the ground. So look, you loan out, and you only need 5 grand. You start with 1,000. You loan out $1,000 to 5 separate people. You're now stimulating their economy. You have now removed our reliance on the banking system. You are the bank. They're gonna stimulate your economy when you set them up with an interest rate that one helps you grow, but two is not killing them. Because banks never put us, as I ask you guys all the time, when have we ever been a benefactor of the business deal with the banks, the 401k, the jobs insurance, or any of that? They never set those situations up, so they take the L and we get the W. But again, it's a simple concept. So at this point, you're stimulating their economy because you loaned them the money in the first place. And they're going to reciprocate the stimulation by paying you back interest on the money. If any of you guys know drug dealers, they in-home bank. They don't go to the bank and get work. No, somebody go to them and say, bro, I'm broke, but I'm trying to get on my feet. He going to front them some work, and without the contract, he going to say, hey, have my bread back on this day, or I'm going to come holler at you in the way that you don't want me to holler at you. Everybody know this scenario. They gambling house, they in-home banking. They're all stimulating one another's economies, but they're using it for each other. There's no outsourcing. So, bro, like what you were saying, like you were saying, started there, bro. Like I think a lot of people add complexity to it, bro. This is really simple. You can really have $500 to start in-home banking, and now everybody in one circle eats. So I'm gonna give y'all a quick example. In 2015, I bought my children a lemonade stand and a vending machine. I took the money I was making for entrepreneurship and I invested in them. Fast forward, okay, let me ask one more question. Anybody ever see their videos? All right, I'm gonna let y'all in on a secret. They don't make videos for free. I pay them every time they make videos. They do nothing for free. Because if your children is a part of your business infrastructure, everybody at the table should eat. But simply, right, I'm just giving you a prime example. I was hungry the other day, had no cash. I said, babe, we need some pizzas. Order some pizzas. She got bread out her room, came to me and said, I got it, but you gonna owe me my money back. I had to pay her back. But the point I'm making is, when you invest with your people, those are your constituents. So if I fall short, guess who I'm gonna call them? I'm gonna get one more example, right? With real life, okay, anybody in the in-home banking course that read the actual contracts that I put in there? Anybody in there? Anybody? All right, nobody in the course. Oh, okay, we got a few people. You saw the actual contracts in there? So look, my little brother is 22 years old. We're 23. He just had a birthday a few days ago. He put in 8 grand. I pay him 30% interest every month on 8 grand. Because if you solid, you're not gonna screw your little brother. You're gonna actually put your brother in an advantageous position so he can actually win. Passive income at 22 years old, he's collecting 30%. He's collecting $2,400. And all you gotta do is stay alive and call me and say, bro, how we transferring the money today? So the point I'm making is, if you're in a position of power or you headed somewhere in a progressive route, you have a responsibility to double back. Look, I don't want to knock nobody in, but one of the biggest things I've seen in this era, people be feeling like they're doing their thing because they're taking care of themselves as an individual. You grown, you should want to take care of yourself. You should want to move out. You should want to no longer be a burden to your mama. But to me, real power is when you actually double back and you put other people in position. So what I'm saying, like, one more question. Is there anybody that ever banked with somebody and they gave you 30% interest on anything? No. Absolutely not, right? But you know the beauty of in-home banking? I get to choose who I do business with. And I'm less likely to screw somebody over that look like me. So just going back to what Keith said, we really can't start today. Outside of that, in-home banking is not just money. In-home banking is a transfer of information. Is some of y'all in here right now like, I tell you this all the time, right? All of us are in a similar stage. Some of y'all may be late with y'all bills. I hate the IRS. We both have money problems, you feel me? We just at different places in our journey. So what I'm saying is like, again, don't add complexity to it. It is literally something you can start tomorrow. If you got $500, I know y'all got a partner who can use $500 right now. Just set them up in a situation where you create your own interest rate and that now the bank is no longer involved. And again, the example I'm gonna keep giving, I'm gonna ask one more question and then I'm gonna pass it to somebody else. Is there anybody, can you name 5 people, elders or old heads in your family that have generational wealth right now thanks to the banks, insurance, or 401k? You can name 5. I got 1 in mind. Anybody got 5? If all y'all came to my house tomorrow and only 5 of y'all made it back out on Monday, would you encourage your children to come visit my house too? Anybody? So why are we still relying on this system then? Like, it's clear in front of us. None of our people are on the beach house right now because they got $1 million out the bank with the insurance game. So again, just going back to what Keith said, it literally is something we can start now. We just gotta remove the complexity. But again, like, just kicking it off, we gotta invest with each other. And bro, just going back to what you said also, that is one of the biggest things I see. People be terrified to invest with each other. Bro, I promise that's the biggest question I get. What if they run off with my money? And I'm like, okay, the bank done screwed you over on your money, McDonald's screwed you, Jordan, everybody else done screwed you over with your money. Like, bro, I put a video up last night, right? Bank of America, Citibank, and Wells Fargo have all got hit within the last 12 months with billions of dollars of money that they scammed. Some of y'all got a cousin that stole $20 from y'all 10 years ago and you wrote them off. That's a problem. Like, to me, that demonstrates self-hate. Your cousin stole a dub. He the worst person in the world. Wells Fargo stole a B. And we'll go in there happy as they get our babies a lollipop and get them an account as well. So that's just something you need to think about.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next question. Our brother here has a question.
Okay, please, my name is Gary. I want to acknowledge the house, Union Temple, where I first started coming to church as an adult when my mother wasn't forcing me to. And it's the first place where I saw much background too. I want to acknowledge the panel, the entire panel, but I want to acknowledge some of my name, which I've been doing the work for like a long time, Brother Redfield, Ben X, 19 Keys, Brother Rizzo. Y'all really doing your thing, and I know some of your faces, I just don't know the other ones by name. I think y'all answered my question like maybe five times. But I noticed that you called yourselves the shifters, and I hope I'm not late. I came in a little late. Y'all might explain what that meant already. What kind of, maybe, is this an organization that you intend on growing, like chapters in different cities, or is this just going to be kind of this group's brand? And, you know, like, just what does it mean to be a shifter? I appreciate it.
My brother, 19 Keys with the mic in my hand. My brother, the Shifters is a group of people that's coming together, that's letting our ego go and standing for our culture and our people, and we are 100% deleting the word fear. We are 100% deleting the word fear. We are 100% relying, we are being self-sufficient depending upon, see, in order for us to believe in a group of people, you need to believe in yourself. And we gotta have confidence. So when the young lady said, what can we do today? The first thing that you can do is delete self-doubt. You see, my mother gave birth to me. I wouldn't have no dream without my mother. Malcolm X would have never had no speech if a woman didn't give birth to him. So I never understood why a woman would let someone suppress them so bad and make them feel, you know, less than. I wouldn't even be able to speak my dreams into existence. So if you can give life to somebody's dream, then I need your confidence, I need your wisdom, and I need your intuition, because when you take that intuition and that wisdom and you put it inside of me, that becomes a passion that I turn into a dream of inspiring 1 billion people to speak their dreams into existence. And then you get the Derek Graces, and you get the, Brother BNX and the Billionaire PAs and the 19 Keys. So when you talk about what is the definition of a shifter is a person that will take a broke mindset to a wealthy mindset. A shifter is a person that will take understand that your greatest wealth is your health. So don't like my quote, never spend your present time with a person that you don't have a future with, but don't think that it's not important on what you put inside your body. Because the person that I'll show you your future if you show me your 5 best friends, that's external. But you would take a negative chicken and put it in your body, that's internal. But you don't think that affects you. No, when I sat on this stage today, I sat with a clear mind. I've been eating chicken and beef my whole life, but my brother challenged me to give it up. I didn't give it up just for myself, I gave it up for you. So that when I sit here, I'm not emotional. I'm speaking with a very clear mindset that I want my people to stand up and shift the paradigm of their thinking. You ain't got to believe in me. But you do need to understand that I'm tired of seeing us struggle, man. I'm tired of seeing us broke. God ain't put nobody on this earth to have no disease. God ain't put nobody on this earth to have no money in the bank. And you leaving this earth at 60 years old and all you got is fear? No, black people too talented for that. So when I talk to Aslan, I'm gonna wrap up with this, and I hear we call each other gods. And then when I get done, somebody gonna walk up to me and they gonna say, why is your book now $100? Because I'm a god. Like you sound ignorant that, like, what a slave can sell a book for $5. No, my message is powerful. We changing the word. It's like the name of the book is called My Mind is Wealthy, but y'all want to pay a broke price to get wealthy. That's what the paradigm shifting is. You're supposed to be wealthy. The reason why, my brother BNX talked to me last night, and I think you talked a little bit about the law of exchange, right? If a person, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I might have to pass you the mic, but I digested that and I Googled it and I looked it up, and it says something like people only value things based off what they give, because it's an exchange. So if you gave me, if I gave you my book for free, you probably wouldn't even go home and read the book. If Derek Grace gave you the Unlearn and Relearn for 100% free, you wouldn't even value it the same. So no, I gotta take something from you. I don't care if it's money, I don't care if it's your hat you got on, I don't care if it's a relationship. I want to take something for you so you can value the work that the shifters are up here doing. Now you got about 10 people on your stage, so when you ask what the shifters are a group of people that have allowed their egos to go. And we've come together and put all of this together to see all of us come together and speak our dreams into existence. So that's what the shifters is going to do, and either you with the program or you not. But we're going to bring change to our people.
Peace and blessings, you all. I would like to add on to that. To me, for one, I want to acknowledge the fact that I am, not was. We're always in the present. It's always right now. So many people don't realize that it's always right now. Yesterday is an illusion, tomorrow doesn't exist. It's always right now. It's right now o'clock. So when you're going to do it, get it done right now. Because this is all that you have, this is all you will ever have, and this moment right now is all that you will ever be. Even your creative potential of who you think that you will become in the future is what you possess right now. It's always right now. And to me, being asked to be the feminine presence on this Shifters panel with this multi-billion-dollar conglomerate is such an honor. And to me, shifters, the shifters movement, the paradigm shifting movement is a group of gods coming together, giving other gods permission to be God. Because so many people are waiting on someone to give them permission. So that's what we're here for. If you're looking for somebody, to tell you that right now is the time, that's what we're here for. If you're looking for permission, we're here to give you permission. And people say, like, what is God? You use that so freely. There's only one God. I was taught that that's blasphemy. I was taught that that's taboo. No, love, let's break it down then. Because God's create. And the moment that you begin to actively create and to manifest into your life or into the atmosphere around you, you then activate your God-like divinity and ability, whether you call it that or not. So us as shifters help position you to become God. Because what else does God do besides create? God's answer prayers. So the moment that you are able to answer your own prayer, or the prayer of your brother, or the prayer of your sister, your cousin, your auntie, the person on the street that may be dealing with a bit of uncomfort in life, you then become God in their life. So that's, to me, personally, that's the epitome of the shifters movement. It is a shift in your mindset for you to realize that everything that you have been taught thus far, 98.99999% of that is to teach you to work against yourself. So as we, as a collective, go into our individual selves and unlearn and deprogram ourselves and relearn something worth knowing, and we shift the paradigm, and then you see us doing it, even if we don't open up our mouths and tell you that you can do it too, you realize on a subconscious level that they are no different from me, and it's time to get some shifting going on in my life. So we're going to teach you how to shift your finances, shift your emotions when you become more emotionally balanced, when you deal with the relationships in your life with integrity, with the relationships in your children with integrity, with the relationships with your lover with integrity. Shift your finances when you deal with your bills with integrity, instead of stealing from people. Because you robbing people to pay Paul. Because all you have is just the minimum balance. So all life gives you in return is the minimum balance. Shift your love. When you plant so much love inside of yourself that it grows so freely that even when you love people that don't love you back, you don't feel like they stole nothing from you. We shifted it. So to me, that is the epitome of the shifters movement. It's all encompassing. But until you are ready to change, you won't change. And a lot of times, many of us are not ready to change until we see somebody else changing. So I challenge you today to be the change. Even if you don't want to do it for you, realize how many people will do it because of you.
Wow.
And with that being said, in case nobody has told you that they love God today, you know I love you. And I like you.
Just a few quick facts. The word God means force and power. So when we say God, we want everyone to understand that we are not standing up here saying, pray to me and I will bestow upon you everything that your heart desires. All right, let's not get it twisted, because we have a whole lot of people. All right, and we got a whole bunch of things that we cannot actually do, but what we can do is help you to shift and or change the way you think, the way you behave, everything that is going on. That is the basic definition of the word shift, which means to change. Change. Everything that we're doing right now is not getting us entirely to where we need to go, so we must change. Every other organization, every other group, every other culture of people, from the Jews to the Indians to the Chinese, they have a little China, they have a little Armenia, they have a little Cambodia, they have a Jewish district in every major city. Why? Because they changed from the norm. They changed, they shifted their own paradigm. So, God is one possessing force and power. They are gods in their community, because they possess the force and the power. What we want to bestow upon you and give you is your innate natural ability that you already have, which is that force and that power within you to change the conditions under which you live. One way that I do it is by giving you those solutions, helping you to find out the solutions, health-wise, economic-wise. I kind of dabble in virtually everything in here. We all have our strong areas, but we provide the solutions, because that is the number one thing that we don't focus on the most, but what we do focus on the most is destroying the ego, bringing the solutions to completely shift the paradigm of what is going on with us as a people. And the last part, Gomer, Oz, Dabar, which are the three letters in the word God. Gomer, knowledge; Oz, I believe, is strength; and Dabar, beauty. God is one with wisdom, strength, and beauty. So let us be very clear, when we're speaking these Greek words, these letters, we're understanding that these are the characteristics that we all have as innate spiritual beings, melanated, original, Asiatic, Moorish, whatever you want to call it, we all got it. We just need to remember, because we lost the knowledge of self, but right now we just shifted your mind, and we are helping you to understand that that is exactly who you are. You do have that power, and you are now going to shift and utilize that power to change the conditions under which you live.
I heard 19 tell somebody yesterday, like, anybody can be a shifter.
So when you say what are we, it's like shifting is changing the paradigm. We want to create a change in your mind so much that we no longer are in here conversing about who we can get elected. That's not a conversation that we're trying to have. We're talking about what we can do that needs to be done by the people that we should be electing. So we're electing ourselves to say we're going to make the change. So strength of spirit is rare. It needs to be guided. So what we're doing is giving you the keys so that you can guide your own spirit, and we're going to help you. So when he talks about power, we're not going to the equations, but power is velocity times current. Velocity is current times resistance. Resistance is electrons, it's negative. So anybody that's not with it, non-progressive people, they are our resistance. We don't need them. We need, because as resistance goes up, our current goes down. We don't want low energy, we want high energy. So we're creating high energy beings around us so that we can have a team that we can call on and they can work. And we can say, where you at? Cali, all right, boom, I need this done. And it can happen. Shifting is changing from allopathic medicine to holistic medicine. You get what I'm saying? We're saying that instead of, our symptoms are usually our cures. So our symptoms when we get sick, we're coughing, it's trying to get the mucus out. When we have diarrhea, it's trying to get that ingestion out. We're going to the holistic route. In our communities, our allopathic symptom, that we're giving medicines to symptoms like gang violence and drug abuse, those are coming from stress. So we're going to relieve people of stress because we're going to teach them how to do everything they need to do themselves in many different ways. And it's a holistic approach to it. It's not a political approach. So anybody can be a shifter. Now I'm going to let it.
Almost quick. I don't want to lie to you. But shifters, he right, I did say that anybody can be a shifter, but it means that you have to put some work in it. You know, we changed the idea of what it means to be woke. I don't really care how woke you are. I don't care that you woke up. It's about what the work you put in. So we go from being woke to being work. And work is the exertion of energy. And power, as I describe it, is the ability to control the phenomenon of energy, and everything in our world is energy. So a shifter to me, and the great thing about this is that we all are allowed to create our own perceptions and understandings of what things mean as far as language and time. We don't all have to have the same exact understanding. I believe that the greatest thing that we have is our ability to be original. That's your genius. We all have different blueprints and DNA and fingerprints, and you look at that, that defines that you're different. But if you don't exact that which is in your being to actually add value to the current paradigm, then you, as an individual, is not a shifter. You don't have any value. So if we all come to the table and we say we'll have a dinner and everybody brings the same exact thing to the table, you didn't really add no value. Without you, we would have had this. But when you tap into the original sense of self and you go with that fearless thought process of who you are, and we talk about building this collectiveness, now each individual adds something new, they add some value. So the greatest thing that we can do is we can build the originality by deprogramming the codes that you currently have and instituting one where you can tap into the originality of self. Because we program to assimilate and just be the same. So what we do is we consistently shift your language and time. Right? For me, I focus on language and time so much because it parallels to everything else we do in reality, in our behavior, in our construct of thought. So when I say white patriarchal intellect, I mean that. And what do I mean by that? Is that if you look at time itself, and you look at clocks and increments of time and how they were implemented within our lives, that's not our African system of time. That's not our original sense of time. This time system that we have now, this 1260, 12 months, 12 hours, a breakdown of 24 hours and 60 seconds and 60 minutes, was something that was given to us. And it put the people on a different sense of not being in tune with your natural selves, allowing you to be controlled much easier. So a lot of people think about the area of time when they talk about the future or the past. The reason it's hard for us to actually build something sometimes because we don't know how to control our present. And so when you control the present and you eliminate the idea that the future is in a couple years or later on, no, the future is literally a collection of moments in the present time. But if you speak English,
then you have a sense of the future being in front of you. If I ask most people to point to the future, they'll point in front of you, but we're facing you, so then our future would be this way. But it's only because of our language. So even I'm programmed by it. So when I speak about the future, I lean forward because that's what the future is. But in a different language, a different programming, if you're a bilingual speaker, then you have a different idea of what time is within your language. Like the Chinese have it to where if I say I will do something, you're putting a future tense on it, saying when it's going to happen. They will say I do something, not separating the future and the now. So for us, we believe that our benefit is at some later point in time. So you're thinking that we're talking about next year, and that's why it's so important to change your language, because then you start to understand you have control over your time. And then you understand that Kronos comes from the Greek word, and it means father of time, which is representing a white man, basically. And then Kronos also represents an idea that, and I'm a piggy, Camelback with my brother Rizza. As far as when you talk about the Gregorian calendar and what we live on, our whole entire time was instructed and implemented by someone other than ourselves. It was implemented by the Papal Board, the Catholic Church. The Gregorian calendar decided that, you know, everybody's about to be on this white man's time. Everybody's about to be under our rule, the Pope's rule, the Catholic time. And in the African psychology, it's not too many words for near future. And that's why they say colored people's time. When we show up, whenever we show up, we're on time. Because it's our time. I'm here, I'm present. What do you mean I'm late? How can I be late? Show me late. You can't show me late. You can point to increments of time that somebody created as a measurement for when I was supposed to be here. But if I'm here, I'm in time and I'm on time. That's right. Now, at the same time, when we build it, and we build it within this construct of business, it is based off the white man's mind. So when we learn business, we learn it from him. So we have to learn to do things in time. But having that power of understanding gives you the right balance between your spiritual side and your material side. So when we talk about these ideas of doing things in the future, if your language is not progressed to even change your ideas of what we need to do now, we won't get there. Like when it comes to unity, we don't speak the language of unity every day. We don't speak the language of actually building with each other every day. So we have an inability to actually express that within our behavior. So it's until we change our language, then we don't control our time. And so everything that we know within our time has been calculated for the past 6,000 years. In a white man's time, it will go past 6,000 years. So that means that he has implemented this time construct, which represents his time. And that we're just living in it, but the end of times represents that as our time. That we get to take back control of where we at. And his time has already expired. So when you see individuals like us coming together, we're not living off the energy of the past leaders. No, we're living in the present time. Because there's an idea that says that in order for us to go to a different level of civilization as a people, we have to learn how to harness our energy better. And we were talking about this as a civilization in a planetary sense, then it would say that we have to learn how to harness the power of the sun. The sun gives us enough energy in 1 hour to last us for like a year or whatever. Maybe wrong on those figures, but if we was actually able to harness it, we would actually be able to have enough energy for the entire planet. And that's how much energy it gives us. But we use dead coal and plants in order for us to get our energy. It's not the most efficient system. And for black people, I relate that to us because we use our dead leaders. Those are our coals. Those are the old seeds that was planted instead of saying that, wait a minute, I'm already in the presence of the energy that we need. And within this 1 hour, we can actually shift the paradigm. So my sister Ajna and my brother Pop Dart, this is my first time meeting them. And I always tell people, it's not till we meet that you become a shifter. Because you got to put in that work. You put up your own money, your own time, your own energy to be here in this present moment. You shifted yourself from one space and time, and now you're here, and now we're working together. Because like my brother said, the individual represents their ego, what I can do. But we say wherever we go is where we shift it. So we change the ego to the we go. And so therefore, we can brag about what we do. And that's what paradigm shift is like.
Peace, family. All right. I want you to remember this and put this on your mind, that all is mental. What you perceive is what you believe. It's as simple as that. And the paradigm that you've been programmed into is a box. What you perceive, you So if you believe you ain't worth nothing, then that's what your reality will reflect. This culture that we belong to, this culture that all of us came from, this culture that we all could, we know what we talking about, hip hop, the streets, the hood, the mud, the dirt, where they don't love us, and we give it our all, and it gives us nothing back. The ghetto, all of that stuff. We've all come from that. But what we've done is we shifted our paradigm. So if you see any one of us standing before you, we're not coming from Bel Air. We didn't take a helicopter and get dropped into here. We hopped out of the same Cadillac that you did. You know what I'm talking about? We walking on the same sneakers that you walking on, the same Nike Air Bubbles that you rolled in here with. And we're here to let you know that if we can do it, if we can change our reality, you can do it. This is a movement. This is not some elitist group sitting before you. These are your brothers and sisters letting you know that we are going to change your reality the same way that our reality has been changed. Believe me, my paradigm, I just mentioned earlier that 9/11, it was a 17-year anniversary of 9/11. If you want to know what the meaning of a paradigm is, well, goddammit, a paradigm is the world that existed pre-9/11 and then the world that came after that. 19 Keys has the keys. He has a science to really break down how that whole paradigm shifted from a divine to the what? To the nine minds. So that's a shift in paradigm. But we live in a reality where a brother who looks just like me and you just raised $10 million as a collective. He's called Brother Jay Morrison with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. That means that paradigms are shifting because you live in a day and in a time. Remember, the power's in the now. You live in a today where things are being done that wasn't done before. On this panel right here, you have a system who will deal with your heart. You have a brother in Rizza Islam that will deal with your mind. You got my brother Derek Grace that will deal with your pocket. You got the brother 19 Keys that will deal with your mind spiritually. My brother Pop Darby will deal with you from the street perspective, from the spiritual perspective. So we're talking about shifting every single part of you. So what you perceive, you can now believe. So when you wake up and you look in the mirror, you can really see God. Because like he said, God is an action. It's called Godding. That means that you're doing something. Consciousness is only to be aware. Woke is only to be awake. You laying in the bed. I was woke this morning and I missed my bus. Because I ain't want to get out the bed. My lady had to say, yo, don't you got something to catch? So woke is not the key. It's a step. It's levels to this. So we're all going through levels. By a show of hands, how many people in this audience are talented and can identify that you have a gift? So there goes your solution right there, sister. The power is in the people. You have to be able to see that now. We live in a new economy where it's going to be us taking care of us. No more looking outside of us. If you don't see the signs of that, I don't know, you might be in the wrong place. You might need to be in White Jesus Church. Because you're looking for somebody outside of yourself. But if you come inside of this place where you see these deities on the wall, it's showing you that God is within. It's not outside of yourself. Your God is going to look like you. So when the gods and the goddesses come amongst you, you cannot be intimidated. You cannot look outside of yourself and start and get into idol worship. It's not about that. We're only here to show you that you are God as well. I'm only a reflection of you. So the answers and the solutions are in each one of us. We have to identify what the talent and the skill that each one of us have. Because like Derek Grace says, I might have 5 racks to invest in you. But you gotta step up and say, this is what I do. This is how the machine works. Like the $1 billion movie that 19 Keys talked about, Black Panther. It's on Netflix right now. Go and watch the credit roll. How many people did it take to make that $1 billion Afrofuturistic crop? Because you have to always remember that is Afrofuturism. That's a genre that you belong to. If you sit here today, goddammit, you're an Afrofuturist. That's your genre. That's your niche market. It's a multi-billion-dollar market. Go and eat, like Diddy told you. You got Diddy and them they're trying to sit with you now. They riding your way. They want to be conscious. So understand what you belong to, who you are, and the paradigm has already shifted. Okay? This is not the same world of 17 years. It's not the same world of last year. The veils are being lifted. Something is falling down in order for something to rise up. The prophecies of Elijah Muhammad has come true. The falling of America is before your eyes. But they said it's going to fall, so what can rise? So we got cryptocurrency, we got the gig economy, we have the internet, we have the social entrepreneurship, social enterprise, grants, all of these things at our foot, in our hands. And the only person in the way is us. So hopefully everybody that pulled up today leaves your contact. Your email will be the most important way for you to leave your contact, because this is a movement and we need numbers, and we need everybody to leave here today and tell 10 other people about the shifters. Okay? Because Pop Darby just gave you the math. $30,000 at $20 investment, 600 racks a week to invest, to loan. And we got loan sharks, so don't run on the plug. Just FYI. You said FYI? But it's all digital now. You've seen Cash App. The brother just did the Black Business Challenge with the Cash App. And they give them place one. Yes, winners. So you're seeing winners before you who are guarding in real time and not living in the past, living in the present, living in the now, letting you know that we're jumping into the future. Are you on board? So by show of hands, how many people are on board? Facts. All right, peace.
To me, the shifters is something that you can gain strength from, is being able to see the guide in somebody else, because a lot of times, as we said already on the panels, sometimes you don't believe you can do something until you see somebody else do it. My brother Red Pill, what does namaste mean? What does that mean? Peace. And then I heard also around, I forgot, I think I was in Philip, I think it means like something like the God in me. Yeah.
The God in me acknowledges the God in me.
So the God in me acknowledges the God in you. So to me, that's what this panel kind of was about. It wasn't like anybody asked, can I be a part of the shift? Let me be. No, somebody saw somebody being a God. Somebody saw somebody activating, they showing force and power, and we invited them into the group. So to me, it's something that you can get stripped from. When I played basketball, we had to lift weights, and we had to run miles. There was many times where I didn't like lifting weights. There was many times when I didn't want to run all 4 laps around the track. But when I saw my brother, he was struggling like I'm struggling. When I saw my brother, when he was lifting the weights and he was sweating like I was sweating, I was able to gain strength from seeing somebody else struggle. So to me, the paradigm shifts is somebody who's actually trying to shift their lives and be an example, and we gain strength from each other. And then I want to talk about how we tap into the God within and we are living. We see other people living. We use the word woke, but a lot of times we are awake, but we're not really living. I ask y'all this question. How many of y'all have been to a funeral before? Tell me something about the person that's in the casket. I give you the first answer, something that I noticed to get y'all on my drill. The first thing is the person didn't put himself in the casket. Anybody else know anything about somebody that's in the casket? Number one, he didn't put himself in there. Anybody else got something about a person that's in the casket? Anybody notice anything else?
They didn't dress themselves.
They didn't dress themselves. Anything else?
They were motionless.
Motionless. That's a good one. Anybody else? They did, that's right, they definitely did. Okay, so they didn't clothe themselves, they didn't put themselves in it, and they're motionless. So that's describing actually some of y'all in here today. I know y'all was going down. Am I dead? Yeah, we are dead. So if we're not clothing ourselves, we're not educating ourselves, we're allowing other people to do for us what we have the power to do for ourselves, we're not making money for ourselves, then we are awake, but we are really dead. So we're seeing different people and we're seeing that, okay, this person is alive and I can gain something from this person being alive and I can't get nothing from this person who's being dead because he's motionless, he's not doing anything, or he's robotic, he's doing something over and over again, producing the same results, talking about I want to be a God, or I want to be a king, or I want to be a shifter, but you're not shifting the paradigm of what you're doing every day. So I think that was something that I noticed about the panel. And the last thing is we appreciate the God in each other. We don't have, like you said, the ego, we have the we go. And any of y'all who are into real estate, it says appreciation is when you increase in home's value. So if I appreciate you, I'm going to give you something valuable. I'm going to give value to you. Even if it's going to be currency, it can be a word, it can be upliftment. I don't know about how many of y'all who follow me on Instagram, but I'm doing a little Instagram fast real quick. But Brother Reza called me. He said, Brother Ben, you all right? I just wanted to check and see if you was okay. See, that's what the shifting is about, seeing something that's your brother, you making sure that he's okay, you making sure he's not down. He said, Brother Ben, I know you've been studying, I know you're taking this break to study, but check this out. I got the facts, because I'm reasoning with the facts now. I can break it down to you in less than 1 minute, but he said, I can make this a little bit easy, so you ain't got to do all that studying. I can give you this so you can be a little faster. So I think being a part of this shifting is about everybody else noticing the God within, noticing their gift, noticing their value, and we can all eat off each other, not in a whether we be valuing somebody or be using somebody. I'm using you and you using me. So that's what the shift is about to me.
I got a question for the shifters myself. Do anybody need more money in their life?
We all do.
Anybody consider themselves conscious in here?
I do.
So the question it has is, how can individuals start business, use platforms, do whatever they can do in order to capitalize on being conscious in today's age? Because there's a point in time when being conscious was a liability to your pockets. And we shifted into a new momentum. Like, you see what just happened with Kaepernick was a shift in the paradigm when you see a corporation get behind something that's considered so-called revolutionary. But it actually opens up the door for individuals like ourselves to be able to capitalize off the momentum. And one thing that we want you to do in recognizing paradigms is when something do change, so that you can interact with that opportunity and actually win. And so I want to hear from the panel as far as what are some of the best ways to be conscious in business and capitalize? How we gonna get money with all this knowledge?
I think he gave y'all the answer in his question, but anyways, no. Consciousness to me is like information, being aware, and how I define entrepreneurship is you have the problem plus the entrepreneur equal problem solved. So to me, the way that you get money or the way that you earn money is just about serving a lot of people. A lot of times people just think about, I want $5,000, I want $10,000, but they never focus on who am I serving, what service am I giving, what product am I giving somebody. And when you'll start to see that the more people you serve, the more money you get if you put a price on it. So if you give somebody something, well, how I define it is, think about something that you would do for free and then just find a way to monetize it. Like you said with social media. Back in the day, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, they had to have somebody out there with a sign, or they had to buy a new sign. Now you can, or you have to buy a big old billboard. But nowadays, shoot, when we driving to Texas, I don't know how many of y'all going to admit to that, but when I drive, I'm looking down, I ain't really looking up. So a lot of times, you just use social media, like he said, you can reach 300,000 people with one post. But the Dad Grace, I'm pretty sure y'all have seen him cleaning them guns, and he got his children doing all that stuff with the guns and spitting out the information, but he's reaching 300,000, we reaching 1 million. We doing all this weekly and monthly, so imagine we got 500,000 people that's on the same page and everybody gave $20 or everybody gave $50. Those are the kind of things that I think about when I think about consciousness and how we can use modern technology for business. If you're able to give somebody a service in your city. Now with social media, how can you get that done all over the world? If you're giving somebody consultations, if you're giving somebody some healing, how can you do that all over the world? Yeah, you may have started off by doing it in your house. You may have started out by having an appointment where you're doing it one-on-one, but now you can take this stuff all over the world with WorldStar. You can take it all over the world with just paying somebody else that's conscious like you, or that already has the same target audience that you have. You can pay them to put your product out there. So to me, just finding out what your service is, most importantly, becoming aware and conscious about what your service is and what you can give to the people, and then use modern technology such as social media to get it out to millions of people. So I would say focus more on service, and then when you focus more on service and put a price on it, then you'll begin to gain that money that you are looking for.
All right, for the sake of time, I'm gonna have, for the sake of time, we only have about 30 more minutes left. I'm gonna have each person ask their question, and I want them to direct it to a specific panelist so that they can get their question answered.
Before we get into this, I wanted to
All right, go ahead, brother.
Real quick. All right, 3 things, and if y'all taking notes, seriously take these notes. Number 1, don't be afraid to put your own bread up. When you put your own dough up, right, you're gonna go broke sometimes, you're gonna sacrifice. But when it double back, you control the board, you have all the leverage. So real quick, every book I've created in curriculum was self-published, it's self-distributed, everything. I stopped letting people book me 2 years ago. So like this past August, I had to spend 16 grand to take a family, all my family, 11 of us, to London. But when I doubled back to the US, like it was a large investment. I took an L. I definitely didn't make that money back at my London event. But I hold the leverage, gotta say I'm an international speaker in the US, so you gotta pay me at a different rate. Outside of that, my books, everything, right? First book I ever made, Bomb, 2014, was a 700-page autobiography. Did terrible. But I jumped back 2 years later, and I went #1, June 8, 2016, and we did that independently. So I'm gonna keep it funky with y'all, right? I get royalty checks every month for each book and curriculum. No royalty check has ever been over $300, but you gotta remember I got 8 bodies of work that just collect royalties on that platform. So because I put my own dough up in the beginning, passive income, my children will eat on those royalties to the day that they die, as long as our names stay relevant. Number 2, focus on making your own history and not repeating it. I love the people that came before me, but I don't want to be like none of them. I'm a diamond teeth, tattoo face, gun-toting daddy, independent off the independent this, independent that. I love those dudes that sit behind me, but I don't want to be like none of them when they write my legacy at the end of the day. Number 3, just going back to what I said, y'all, practice inclusion. One of the biggest things I think, like one of the greatest things I ever did, right, was I started self-educating myself and my children, and I figured out ways for all of us to stimulate our economy. So me and my children never have to split ways in the morning to say, hey, daddy gotta go answer to so-and-so to make some bread. And they never have to leave me to say, hey, I gotta go see Miss Johnson and get educated. So at 29, I created my own in-home infrastructure where we're not relying on anybody for money, protection, or information. Lastly, just when it comes to monetizing it, I can go on and on, but I'm gonna tell you, one of the biggest things that I see entrepreneurs lack in 2018, we have no marketing and advertising budget. Marketing and advertising can be the difference between you literally making $1,000 and $1 million. I'm gonna be real with y'all, right? Well, anybody ever seen my WorldStar videos? That cost me $3,000 a post. WorldStar charged $3 grand for one post. But I kid you not, like we done cleared. And if any of y'all follow me, y'all know it's not my style. I don't talk numbers, I never get into my personal business, it's not my thing. I wear corner store black tees. But we have generated we almost had a $500,000 mark, but we had to pour in $40,000 to $50,000 worth of marketing. But when it go back to in-home banking, the reason it was so easy, because the people that believed in me gave me 10 grand to go market. So I was playing with house money the whole time. So now we on the average, we averaging like $75,000 per month. I paid $20,000 in payouts for people who in-home bank with me. But the beauty of it is, again, you're less likely to screw with somebody that looks like you. But just going back to what bro was saying, y'all, advertising and marketing is a huge thing. One more thing I'm gonna give y'all. The attention span of the consumer in 2018 is extremely low. If you got a business, post more videos. Videos get 600% more traction than still pictures. People want to see moving objects, they want to see visuals. Don't never shy away from stating a problem, but provide a solution. Too many people that's trying to run businesses want to tell us how bad things are going. Provide a solution. And lastly, controversy does help. If y'all been paying attention, the only videos that I put $3,000 behind is the videos that I got my children with a gun in their hand, because I understand what makes America tick. So, like I said, I go on and on with marketing and advertising. I'm gonna leave it at that, but definitely y'all, marketing and advertising, you got a business. I don't care if you're only using $200 a month. You need to put some bread into building your brand while you sleep, while you tired, while you working. If you advertise it, the brand gonna grow its own legs and it's gonna move when you don't feel like moving. And I just leave it there.
Is everybody all right? Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on and knock out some of these questions.
My name is Carl. I just want to thank everyone on the panelists. This question is for Brother Ben. So I'm of the opinion that there's a lot of issues in the black community that do not get discussed. I mean, they get discussed, but not on a grander scale. One of those issues is the toxicity of today's music. You know, it preaches consumerism, materialism, you know, just sex. And pretty much everyone here is older for the most part. So for the most part, we know what time it is. But the youth, it's the music that pretty much has their attention. The music, social media, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, you know, what do we do as a black community to, you know, address this? Because I'm of the opinion, you know, the drug use and the incessant, you know, sex with the young people. I mean, you see young sisters pregnant at young ages, you know, 24/7 now, just all across the board. It's really concerning for me. You know, my oldest is 21 years old, and you know, I look at him, his friends, associates. I mean, it touches everyone, and I just think that's like a conversation we don't want to have, because that's our music, and us being a emotional people, we as black people are emotional people. So, you know, we tend to embrace certain things even though we may need to let them go. So that's the question that, you know, I pretty much had for you. How, as a black community, can we address the toxicity, you know, of the music that the youth are growing up on? And actually, if we're totally honest, even the music that we actually grew up on as well.
Thank you for your question. I have 3 things I wrote down. Number 1, I would say control our environment. I say that because my daughter or my son, I control what they listen to. And I say that because I'm able to put them in a position where they don't have to go to a public school every day. They're with their mother, or they're around somebody that I know have the same morals and principles as me. I think a lot of times in our community, we teach our children about not sagging your pants. You teach your children or your daughter about not twerking. You teach your son about not having sex, but then we send them to a public school where we know they're not going to teach the same thing. Now you got your son, you don't want him to talk about sex or have sex, but you have women or these young girls who they allow to come to school with sometimes their nipples are out, coming through their shirts, they got tights on, they can see it moving. So if it's going to attract us, of course it's going to attract the daughter. Same thing with the daughter. You don't want your daughter twerking, but then she's going to go to school and then at her dance class or whatever, that's the stuff they're going to be listening to. Of course, they got access to YouTube. Now somebody else's children who's not well-mannered, who's not tall right, they watching those same videos. So I would say, number 1, being able to control our environment so we can control what's on the TV, we can control what's in the music. But then to go another step is to explain the music, because a lot of times we don't want them to hear it, or we just say don't listen to it. But whenever, from my experience, when you tell somebody not to listen to it, that's what makes them actually want to go listen to it and watch it, because they want to know why. So I think getting into the music, showing them why she's talking like that, why he's talking about that, because a lot of times in our communities, they're really just the music is a reflection of what they went through. It's a reflection of what's in their mind, and it's a reflection of pretty much their communities. And so when you think about that, we have to educate the rappers. A lot of times we just keep saying the rappers are, why they not rapping about this? Why they not rapping about this? I don't expect, to be honest, a lot of these rappers to be rapping about in-home banking like our brother there, Grace is, because who's down there teaching them about in-home banking, or who's down there teaching them about why it's okay to be married or why it's important to get married? Because when you mention marriage, some of them be like, man, I'm not gonna get married, what's the point? Why would I go get married to somebody when I can, she let me drive her car, she let me have money, she let me stand over her house, and then if she don't want to give it to me, I can text another girl over there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and she gonna let me have all that and she more pretty. So I think as adults or as parents, we need to get down and teach them the principles of why things are the way they are, because a lot of times you think about, like there's a song called Nigga Ain't Worried About Nothing. How many of y'all heard that song? Nigga Ain't Worried About Nothing. Now sometimes he may have some stuff in that music that you don't agree with, but as me as a father, since I know he gonna listen to that, I'm gonna say, listen, this is the principle. He's saying he's not worried about anything, and he's not worried about anything because he knows he has the power within to get whatever he needs to do or to get out of any situation. So I think being able to explain the lyrics and why this person is coming from that viewpoint, that'll be another thing. And then yeah, that was pretty much it. Controlling your environment, because you control what your children listen to. If you listen to the music in your own car while the children listen back, to them subconscious, that means, well, it's okay for me to listen to this. Same thing with dropping them off somewhere. If my dad keeps dropping me off here every day, what I'm seeing in this environment, because as a man, it's not just your environment that you got to take care of. You got to, you have to know the environment. You got to know what's going on at the school. You got to know what's going on at the parks. Because if we don't care about what's going on at the parks, then what's going on at the parks may come back into our house, because we're too, I'm gonna use this word, cowardly to go out and talk to the brothers who got tattoos, who got their pants sagging. I always say, if you just uplift the mind, then the stuff that's on his behind will come up with it. So a lot of times our people want to do better. I actually have a series called Brother Being in the Hood. And I go to the hood and I talk to the Bloods, talk to the Crips, I talk to brothers who talk about drugs and killing in their music. And one thing this brother told me, he says, I don't want to be talking about this, but I don't know anything else to talk about. And all the people who so-called entrepreneurs and businessmen, they either scared to come talk to me, or they don't have enough time to come talk to me. So I'm being influenced by the drug dealers who give me $50, $100 just to watch the door. So this is what I want to do, because this is somebody who actually cares about me. A lot of people who join gangs, from my experience and what they said, I don't necessarily want to just be around jacking and killing people. I just want to be a part of a brotherhood where somebody is willing to kill for me, or I'm willing to do something with him. So I would say control our environment, put the medicine in the dog food is what I would say to teach the rappers, because the minister, when he was talking about, when he met with Ice Cube, he gave some guidance to don't change it completely, because if you change it completely, you're going to lose your audience. So when he said put the medicine in the dog food, basically you can still rap about the reality, but then start putting knowledge within it. I don't know if y'all heard the song called About the Block by Rick Ross. They're About the Block. He started to make songs like that after he met with the ministers. So to me, I would say we have to give the rappers something to actually talk about, and then give them a strategic way to actually do it, and then break down the principles to the children, so they won't just be totally thinking that you can F them and get some money, right? You don't want them thinking like that, but you want to break down the principle of why that person's actually saying that.
Thank you, Brother Bennett.
How you doing, everybody? I follow everyone that's on the panel, and I just want to thank you for coming and being a part of this. It's a loaded question, because RZA, maybe you can answer this. How do we intimidate the police? Okay?
Oh, yeah.
No, wait, hold on. It was actually 3 questions I have, but I know we have to kind of cut it down. How do we intimidate the police? How do we create our own secret society so that we get the things that you all are talking about done quietly? And then third is, how do we then take all of us and slowly start to implement it and start helping Africa, so that eventually, you see what I'm saying? So how do we intimidate the police? How do we get our secret society going? And how do we then move?
Number 1, we police ourselves. That's too simple. If something's going down in the community, you check the brother right from the minute. Is that okay? Yeah. See, this is how we used to police ourselves. Right. If this brother stepped out of line and went and stole from Pookie at the corner house, we go let what we know. Look, bro, we got him, we handled him. Sorry about that. Go and apologize, get him back. That is how community handles business. The Jews, or the Jewish community, they handle things quick. Very quick. They find out who did it, which house they're from, which area. They get money. They take out a whole legal arguing with them, and they never do it again. See, you have to police yourselves. The moment you lose control over your own community, you have an outside entity that comes and institutes control over you. They do not mess with the Jewish community because the Jewish community handles everything in home. If you try to come and touch one Jewish person, they will sue the whole county. Did you hear what I said? Yeah. They will sue the city. They'll get the mayor. They'll get every person who controls anything, and they will sue all of them. And they have lawyers, which we have lawyers. Raise your hand if you have ever seen a black lawyer. Okay, thank you. So number one, we must police ourselves. Number two, we must stop fighting against each other. Does this sound too simple? Stop fighting each other. I was born in Compton, California. I was a Crip before I could say it. I was Crip walking before I could read. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. But that lifestyle was something that was put in place originally to fight against the police. 1969, Community Resistance in Progress, Kentucky Williams, Raymond, Washington, Compton, California. Young Bloods grew up in Inglewood, California. It was born out of resistance to the racist police system. We must return to the same purpose. All the Bloods and all the Crips that you know, let them know. You work for us, you work for the community, bro. You're not fighting each other no more, you're not killing each other. That damn color don't belong to you, this block don't belong to you until you take care of it. Is that okay? Yeah. Is this too radical? And I'm only speaking what I've done. The majority of everything that you hear me talk about, I literally live it. I've been doing this for years. Most of the Crips and Bloods you heard of, the big ones, even Snoop and Game and all of them, yeah, my brothers. I talk to them, I educate them. As Brother Ben said, most of them, just because they have followers, people who know them and all the money, most of them do not have the education, knowledge, or the solutions. They need to know. They don't know. Believe it or not, they don't know certain things. So you must educate them. So one, stop fighting one another, come together. Find the common enemy. The police are only intimidated when you come together in numbers and you have a common goal. Number one, we are not each other's enemy. Ignorance, as the Honorable Minister Farrakhan says, is our biggest enemy. Ignorance. After that, of course, it is a system of white supremacy, but they implemented ignorance upon us. So the moment we come together and say, you're my brother, you're my sister, we need to stop fighting one another, let's work together, okay, good. That intimidates the police. They stopped messing with us a couple weeks ago when a couple brothers stepped in when a police officer was trying to mess with a sister. Some brothers jumped out the car on the police officer. And they backed up like, oh, the niggas woke up. Oh my God, all they have to do is come together. Damn. You too afraid of a gun? Too many of us are afraid to die for the right thing. You want to die over a dollar, but you don't want to die over protecting your mother, your sister, your wife, the mother of your child. We have to get over our fear of death. Gotta get over it. It's fine. Get it over with. Because I'm not gonna sit here and live while my people are dying and just I'm just gonna say, you know what, I'm afraid of that gun, I don't wanna lose my life. What the hell am I living for anyway? If we're not living for our people, what are we living for? We cannot be individualistic anymore. That's the point. So number one, police are only intimidated by numbers of people who are united with a common goal. Did you hear me? People united with the common goal. The goal is freedom, justice, and equality, period. If we do not have our own cities, our own hospitals, our own everything, banks, grocery stores, we have no reason to be fighting one another. We ain't got nothing to fight over. We don't own much. Not much, but we are starting to own things. So we must fight for our own freedom, justice, and equality. The police are only intimidated, once again, by numbers of people united with a common goal. If every gang member today in this country said, if I see any police officer messing with a sister, the whole hood will come after them. They will not do it. Did you hear what I just said? We did this in LA. We did this in Watts. We did this in Long Beach. We did this in what's Downey with white folks. And we showed them. You're not gonna mess with the people, no, it ain't happening. And they understood and they backed up. So come together, spread the word, let everybody know. If you a blood, if you a Crip, Community Resistance in Progress, go back to the original purpose of what that was, which was standing up against the racist police officers to protect the community. They will back up. Number one. Two, creating a secret society. We have too many of them. Number one, I can't explain much of that because these smartphones record everything that you're saying. The FBI is already listening to what we're saying right now. So what I'll say to you, sister, is come together with like-minded individuals like us We are a part of organizations, a few of us are a part of the Nation of Islam. We have many different solutions, and all the groups and individuals who are in here that are a part of the groups go together with other groups that are similar. Do not worry about the ego. Stop. We have to get over this. We want to be first. We want to say we did. No. We are one people. So we have to come together with our individual intentions and our groups to say, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do. And as far as establishing reconnection with Africa, they've already started doing that right now. We have a few people that are already repatriating. Of course, Brother Dr. Umar is one of them. There are many organizations, many countries right now who literally said, come over here, we will give you land. Brother Julius Malema in South Africa said, bring our brothers here. We have land for you here. See, now, if you're not about it, though, number one, you must gain knowledge of self here, because you will not be good over there if you ain't no good here. You must know who you are, at least gain some basics first. Because a lot of us want to go to the motherland, but a lot of us can't stand no heat and humidity. You can't stand Florida. How the hell are you going to stand Zimbabwe? Hey, big mosquitoes, and a lot of y'all sisters can't stand roaches. Hey. So we have to come together, unite, because our unity is more powerful than the hydrogen or an atomic bomb, as the Most High Imam says. The police will back up when they see you together. Stop being afraid of dying, because death is only another experience. Another experience. All right? And when I say that, I have to harp on it because, brothers, you are the backbone of the nation. We are the backbone of the nation. Sisters have to now jump in front of the damn gun because we failed to do it. And I'm sorry I had to harp on that, but I'm getting angry with this. We are the only men to protect ourselves. Ain't no man protecting a black man. So we have to stand up and do it. I will be damned if I see a sister not be protected in my presence. Do you understand? Brothers, we got to stand up. I'm not coming down on y'all, but I'm coming into your head and into your spirit so we can understand it's okay, brother. We can be afraid, I get it, but we are the original man. They know that, which is why they do their best to keep us down. But we are rising up again, ain't nothing to stop it, ain't nothing to stop it. All right? Unite. Pull your resources. All the organizations come together, do something for yourselves, and we will be able to literally establish a little Africa, a little Ethiopia here, and then we can reconnect with that one day. The faster we do it here, the faster we can do it there. It can take a couple months.
Thank you, brother.
Grand Rising, beautiful souls. I am divine. One question? Oh, okay. I got a book, but I'm gonna ask one. But I'm from B-More, put that in there. But my question is for Ajna. I am a spiritual entrepreneur baby, or newcomer, I guess you could say. And like I've been doing it for like a year, but I find it difficult to like get people to open up their minds up enough to accept, like they call it alternative healing, but truly it's just our ancestral, the way that it was, the way that it is. But how do you, what advice would you give to a spiritual entrepreneur newcomer in trying to organically grow their business? I guess you could say staying authentic to yourself and like healing and teaching all basically what you do in an infinite way.
It's you. It's always you, guys. So it's you. So if there's a part of you that is disconnected from the deepest depths of your healing, then that is why you feel like people aren't receiving you. See, that's why I can be up here with the nation, with this blonde wig on, dripping in Louis Vuitton, because you feel me. And it don't matter what I look like. So feel your way through your life. All the way through. And I mean it, Queen, you gotta feel it all. And that's how you know the difference between which feelings are for you to throw away and which ones are for you to keep. And then when you realize the keepers, the jewels, that's what you build upon. And that's how you reach your people through authenticity. You don't want them to hear you, you want them to feel you. So stay in your feeling place. And make sure you feel good by any means necessary. If you build it, they'll come. It doesn't matter what you do. You build it. I love you.
Thank you, sister.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kinza. I just want to first thank everybody for showing up and giving us all of your information. I know for myself, sometimes where I feel isolated, you know what I mean? I can always turn on a video and be like, okay, wow, there's people out there that are fighting, are thinking like me. My father is Imam Nuruddin Faiz, and he's best friends with the minister and is in this book as a mentioning of the individual who saw the assassination of Malcolm X. And as a child of, I guess you could say, a black leader or revolutionary, I will be very, very honest and say that I've had kind of some issues within the community because leaders, they divorce sometimes from their families to make sure that they marry the community. And I get it because it's more impactful to touch thousands and thousands of lives versus one or two. But often the children may be left to pick up the pieces if that person is not inside and actively a part of that life. And as much as he gave and gave and gave and helped and helped and helped, he worked in the upstate penitentiary. There's, you know, tons of brothers, he's from New York, tons of brothers, you know, attribute them getting out of their situation to my dad. But, you know, now he's dying, you know, and like you said, it is time maybe to like reframe the way that we look at death. But I think that what's been frustrating as a seed of that is, well, with the plan that you all have as far as the $20 membership fee and things like that, is there something that's going to be set aside to take care of the elders in these types of times? That's my question.
Beautiful question, sister. Number one, thank you very much for your courage, because some of us do understand what that is like, to be a child of a revolutionary leader, and it is not easy when father's not there, mother's not there, because their lives are committed to the people. And sometimes you feel like you're robbed of your own mother, your father, and the people took them. But it's not that. They literally have the purpose of saving our people. And it is very difficult. So you have the responsibility to take that on in a sense, whether if you want to or not, you know, in certain instances. And that's another reason why the pain is so heavy, because it's like, man, that's I'm the seed of this. So what am I going to do? But to answer your question, yes, there will be funds set aside for the elders, because we tired of doing car washes, y'all.
Come on.
I'm very serious. I'm from Compton. It's terrible. Car washes, barbecues, fish fries. It's like the Jewish community, as we're telling the Nation of Islam, study the white man before he makes no excuses for his failures. Why? Because most of his success came from destroying us. So we have to study what he does now. What does he do? Insurance plans. There are insurance plans you can take out for $20 a month. Covers $15,000, $20,000 for a funeral. See, there are basic things. So yes, those will be set aside. We have people we work with who will set up insurance plans. Those are very, very, very simple. So the elders will be taken care of, because we must honor those who came before us. We would not be here if we were not for them. So we must give them an honorable, respectful burial, respectful send off into the next, their next adventure or their next transition, circumstance. So that is the answer to that question. Is there anything else on that?
All right, thank you.
I wanted to just let Derek work on that with the insurance.
I know for me in that aspect, because I'm like one of those people who do a lot for people, and I got multiple children. Some of y'all don't know because I don't share, but I actually have 5 children. I got a whole nother young daughter that none of y'all even know about because I haven't posted it yet. So I have 5 children and I have to see about, as well as seeing about other people. But one of the things I did a long time ago is, like, as much as I love my people, I'm not solely relying on them for my betterment. Meaning, like, I'm not religious at all, so I have no savior complex. And I'm not saying you do, but when I look in the mirror, the only man that I'm looking for to save me is going to be me, and I teach my children the same thing. So, in that case, I think we have to look at your situation as an example, and you as well, to say, you know what? Before I sustain the demographic of people, I got to do for self first. You feel me? So if you're not in order to make sure that your future affairs are in order, then you can only give us so much to the people. So, like, that's why even just like when billionaires talk about value, I just don't let people undervalue me, because I'm 29, but I understand, like, tomorrow's not promised. So I have to make sure all my children are in place beforehand, because like I've had this argument with people where how are Malcolm's children not like national treasure in the black community? That makes no sense to me at all. So what I did, rather than say, you know what, well, I'm gonna wait on the millennial generation to do that for me, I'm working on the back end to make sure like everything I collect, I'm putting myself in position and my children. So like just quick example, one of the things I'm working on in my city, I'm looking to buy a plaza at the top of the year. I want to open my oldest daughter her own nail salon. I want her own, she'll have her own nail salon / hair store. Next to that, I'm gonna open a storefront for my books, my curriculums, which 2 of my other daughters will feed off that stream of income. Next to that, I want an incubator space where creators, entrepreneurs can come to, like in rooms like this, and just manifest, like a place where they can kick it. And then outside of that, the biggest thing I've been working on is I've been seeking apartment complexes, right? So once we break down the mathematics in the management company, we can still generate 66 grand a month off a 100-unit apartment complex. So although I'm only 29, I'm thinking right now for the future, because I understand I live, like it's unfortunate, but we live in an era like, what have you done for me lately? So you can literally give them 30 years of your life and die at 60, and then they'll move forward as if like I'm sure you've seen, well, you live in it, so I know you've seen it, but I pay attention to the people on that wall, and I'm like, I think I saw Malcolm X, one of his daughters went to jail last year, and I was like, how? Like, well, why is she even at a place where she got to commit crime to generate some form of income? Her daddy died for these people, so I would just say moving forward, because you could do this for you, just make sure like, break that savior complex and just realize nobody coming to save us but the people that we look at in the mirror. I teach that to the youngest of my children, so, but one more thing, I'm gonna say this too. Regarding insurance, they have policies, right, that you can start right now. So this dude gave me this idea in Dallas. He said if your grandma got a $400 policy to get a $500,000 payout in 10 years, pick 4 of her grandsons to pitch in $400 per month. Her grandma shouldn't even have to pay it. So when grandma does expire, there's some form of generational wealth that the family can start with. Now outside of that, they still need to know financial literacy. But there are ways that we can use that system still right now to make sure if one of us die in the next 10 to 15 years, we get some type of pushback rather than waiting on a demographic of people that may not value themselves to turn around and then value us. So, yeah.
Just a quick addressment to that, and we do got new paradigm rules up here. And the new paradigm rule is the rich and righteous. And for far too long, the people who've done the work haven't been able to be compensated for the work that they've done. And so our sacrifice leaves us in financial strife, and our families never been taken care of. And one thing that we're changing is to where, instead of that old paradigm thought process that the old righteous and poor righteous teacher, we change it into the rich and righteous, the conscious and wealthy. You know, we change it into the intellectual and ownership, or whatever it may be. But what we're doing right now is making sure that we are financially straight, and we're in a place to where we're setting it up for we're taking care of our children instead of our children taking care of us. And then that creates a perpetual paradigm where their children take care of the next one and the next one. Because I always consider something to be correct or righteous based on how it affects the children. Sacrifice is the currency to buy the life and what you want. But at the same time, I know that it couldn't have been our past leaders or fathers or mothers' idea to sacrifice their life for a movement and then their children fail because of that. So that couldn't have been what their sacrifice was for. So a lot of times we have to readdress the strategies of our old leaders and say some of them failed. Some of them had a list of items that they wanted to get done and they didn't do it, so they died, not in a disrespectful sense of failure, but when it comes to actually completing a goal. And our goal is so that we become rich and righteous and so that we actually have that wealth, because guess what ended up happening? Is that we complain about those who have power and money because they're unrighteous, so they're able to fund their unrighteous ideas and control the world. So when we get money, since we're righteous, the intent changes. So what we would do with millions of dollars would be different. You'll see a world change. So it means that if you want to see things change, then you have to get behind those who's making the changes. And one thing that we don't have in our community is that we don't have benefactors behind our black geniuses. In the white communities, they have benefactors. You come up with the idea, we'll fund it, and it's done, it's created, established. Because if I have to think of the genius, come up with a capitalistic plan and things of that nature, financially engineer all of this success, for one, it's either going to take me forever or it's just not going to be done. Or it's very hard to multitask. So that whole paradigm of us coming together and working together collectively, instead of just saying, when you look at people starting to get money, you say, are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Are you going to do that? Let's focus on getting the money first. Let's focus on getting the success first and seeing things create that operation, and by an effect of us having that money, everybody's taken care of.
And I just want to quickly add something to that. This is a code that I actually live by in my everyday life that my Healing Place family is very aware of. And it says, my love is free, but my time is not. And the reason that my time is not free, because I spend over 17 hours out of the 24 in a day cultivating the skill of personally developing myself to assist people on how to personally develop themselves so that they can inspire somebody else to personally develop themselves. So in the event that you are looking for financial security, learn the value of your time and then sell your time at its value. And so many of us don't feel worthy, so that's why we're not comfortable with charging. And that's where the poor righteous man concept comes from. Like, I gotta do this, it's my servitude. Yes, I'm serving you, but in exchange for serving you, we will have an exchange. And it doesn't always have to be financial. But if you're not giving me anything in exchange, if there is no reciprocation involved, if we are not watering each other, then I'm not wasting my time. So keep that in mind, beautiful people, as you evolve, as you find yourself, become somebody worth being that is so valuable that you exchange your being for monetary value.
Hold on one second.
One question for the people. I want you to, just answer a question, just so I want you to see an example of something, right? Who was the most financially successful leader up there?
No.
What was it?
Mark God.
Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad was the most financially successful leader up there. So it don't really matter what you believe, what you think. If you take a blueprint of what he actually did, it's already written. We ain't got to think about the failures or things that happen. We can actually look at the success blueprint. Even if you don't tap into the full ideology and everything that he taught, if you look at the moves and the strategy he made, coming with a third grade education and how he strategized and organized to take over the world. Because as you said, the whole secret society is that one man can change the world, but it takes a group to rule it. So that's what we do. We come in to rule the world. So when you want to know a financial blueprint on how we can be rich and righteous, study that, man.
Hold on, Bob. I want to make sure everybody is woke. So if you can, clap one time. Clap 2 times if you still having a good time. Now, before I pass this to Pop, I did this when I did my TED Talk. I want to mention something that the brother asked me when I went to the restroom. It's a young man up there, he asked me about Spurgo, the 12-year-old kid that's sitting right here, this 12-year-old God. And he asked me, how do y'all get someone that young? How do y'all talk to these kids to actually reach them so that they have the confidence like Spurgo? And I wanted Spurgo to take the opportunity to answer that himself and speak for himself. And I think a lot of us can speak on this. We don't talk at Spurgo. We let him know that he's one of us. So we don't tell a child they are the future but won't give them the microphone. So I encourage you to stop telling your kids that they the future, but then 2 days later you tell them to shut up. No, Spurgo, talk. No, you speak for yourself, Spurgo. You sit in the chair, you hold your head up high. You sit next to me. You don't have to be a certain age to be a God. So I got to treat him like that. It's easy to call you a queen, but it's hard to treat you like one. So I wanted to let Spurgo take this opportunity to be the God that he is and answer that question. And the question, Spurgo, is how did you develop the confidence that you have to even sit next to people like this and speak your dream into existence?
I gained the confidence to speak next to people like this because I'm from Philadelphia, and I would go out to barber shops and things like that, and every weekend I would hustle, and I would gain my sales pitch, and I kept saying it over and over again, so where it's so easy to say it, but like a lot of these people up here, before I would watch their Instagram videos, send them DMs and things like that, like wow, but now I'm sending that to them, that's great. I gained the confidence by just staying consistent, never giving up. It's so many times where, one time somebody threw a brick in my mom's car. That same day, it was a day where I had to go and speak at a Boys and Girls Club, and I still went that day. Another time, my mom got in a car crash, but that same night, we went to this conference that one of my mentors was having, and I met another one of my great mentors. That's where I met him at. He a great mentor, gave me a lot of tips. He has a few restaurants in Philadelphia, so like with me just staying consistent, staying focused, and just staying on the right path, that's just helped me gain confidence and help me being great. So that's my answer.
All right. My answer is for her, when you asked about the $20 a month, anything that goes towards that. I don't think people are realizing what I'm saying we're creating. We come from a world of abundance where there's no lack anywhere. So when somebody goes out, we can send them off the right way because we ain't in lack nobody. We're creating it so that everybody can have a piece of the pie. The word wealth means access to resources. So in the $20 algorithm, we put in Elijah Muhammad's equation, we put in Muammar Gaddafi's equation, which is, hey, when somebody dies, we might just give you $50,000 because he was a devil. So 10% of what we put in goes strictly towards disaster relief, savings, and futuristic goals, and precious metals. Everybody eats. It's not a maybe thing. It's it's a new paradigm. And another thing is, it's not a question like, hey, are we gonna do this? It's like, nah, hey, I got an idea, I'm gonna do this. What Unity as Wealth does is teaches you how to go get money, how to go get loans, how to go get grants, how to create a business plan, how to pick up your web conversions, how to become an anthropologist and benefit from it. You get what I'm saying? From benefiting from your work, we're teaching you how to do it while you live, so it's no longer a question of, can we do this? It's, I'm gonna do this. And we like, all right, here, this is what the tools to do it. You need some money too? You get what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's not a maybe. The energy that Julius Malema, what's his name, has in South Africa on buying up the land and taking back the land, that's the same energy we got in this room. Yeah. We ain't talking about not connecting to Africa, we talking about connecting the world, interconnected through one. We are not our body, we are what's in our body. We all got it. We all the same thing. We talking about doing that. Yeah. That's it. Download the app too. I already looked, it's like 2 people did it.
Just a quick, I want everybody to just go through about something that they got going on so we can actually let you know how to reciprocate and how to support so we can actually move forward. One thing that we are doing is the Shifters University is going to be a way to where when it's impossible for us to answer all these questions with the totality of knowledge we have and trying to condense it in a short amount of time, but a lot of, like my brother got the info banking class. We're going to have classes on the Shifters University. My sis has the Oceanus Healing Place.
CHP, Personal Development Academy.
Yeah. RZA, my brother got a book out. Derek got a book out. My other brother got a book out. RZA coming out with a book. We all have tangible things to where we can actually apply all of these things in real time. So if you want to know more, you want to do more, just tap in, find all of the resources in the plug. But we have the Black on Demand as well. We got our own streaming service. So if you want to watch this from all of these cameras, tap in and subscribe to the Black on Demand. We created our own streaming service. So therefore, our intellectual property is just not being capitalized by Facebook and Instagram, which is not owned by us.
The Shifters University is basically so that we won't continue to keep going to different cities and have a powerful weekend, but then after that y'all go right back to the same condition. How many of y'all have dreams and y'all just need somebody who can hold y'all accountable to keep y'all, reminded every week or every day, things of that nature? So one thing we want to do with the Academy is have courses that's already on there, but kind of like how my brother does the in-home banking. Every week we would get on live to check and see, make sure you guys are doing what you're supposed to do, make sure you guys are, taking care of your goals, and if you have any questions for us, instead of waiting to get it through an email or anything like that, we'll be live to answer it live and things of that nature. Also, we'll be using the money to do things in the community as well. So if y'all want to be a part of the Shifters University, which will basically have you guys in contact with us on a yearly basis, I want to create a sheet. I don't know if you can do that, have a sheet. Everybody just give your name and your email, and once we have everything uploaded up, we'll see your email so you can sign up. Is that all right with y'all? How many of y'all so far, I want to see a show of hands, how many of y'all be interested in the Shifters University where you have access to us and you can sign up and get that? Alright, so that's it. Everybody give yourselves a round of applause. I thank you all for coming out today.
Thank you, thank you. And please give our panelists a round of applause, please. Oh, come on, y'all can do better than that. These brothers are from California. Y'all can do better than that.
I'm gonna stand up for myself.
And for those of you who had questions that weren't answered, please stay around. The panelists will be able to answer those questions for you. I want to encourage you guys to come out tomorrow morning at 9:30. We will be hosting a Sunday service. And at 2 p.m., the storm is coming in the building. We're going to have the most honorable minister, Louis Farrakhan, here. Don't miss that great event, amen? Make sure everybody's here. Please support our brothers. They have books and DVDs and everything out there in the foyer. Please support all of our brothers to make sure that we spend our money on our own. Amen? Let's spend our money with our own instead of without, all right?
Excuse me, brother. Everybody with a cell phone, please pull your cell phone out for us. I want y'all to take a picture of us. I want everybody in there. I did this at my TED Talk. This is a big demonstration right here. If you have a cell phone, take a picture of each one of the shifters up here, all of us. If it's 200 people in here and y'all got a minimum of 500 people on your Instagram, that's 100,000 people that we can reach that did not make it in this building. Do not be stingy with this information. I want you to take a picture and I want you to put the shifters are in motion. And tag each and every one of us. The shifters are in motion. And tag each and every one of us, man. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. We appreciate your existence.
Thank you for coming.